Yo, this is Set with Set Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market, people trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's kalshi.com/setmedia. Go ahead and use my code setmedia to get $20 when you trade 20. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Kalshi, because like I said, it is a trading market where you can put in your prediction and you can go ahead and earn interest on that. You can make money off the knowledge that you know, and if you put $20 in, you get $20 back. So all right, guys, make sure to go check out my guy Kalshi, because you can get in on good trades like who will Trump nominate as Fed chair, will Ali Khamenei be outed as the supreme leader, and will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027. So if you want to get in on this action, once again, go ahead and go to my partners at Kalshi. Go ahead and use the link, or you can hit the QR code above and use Set Media to go ahead and get $20 when you trade 20. This is Set from Set Media, and shout out to Kalshi. And all right, guys, we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we're about to jump right into the news cycle. So we're just going to do a whole media analysis on the Iran war updates and a whole lot more that's going on as we're drawing closer to the end of the ceasefire, which ends tomorrow. So fingers crossed that a peace deal can be reached or a ceasefire can be extended, but it doesn't look likely, guys. So let's get right into it. On Fox News, they actually had Rohanna on. I ain't gonna lie, Rohanna did pretty well. But let's not forget to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get right into it.
Welcome back. CENTCOM releasing new video overnight of U.S. forces taking over an Iranian cargo ship after a 6-hour standoff. The cargo ship was trying to break past the U.S.'s naval blockade. The ship, called Tauska, reportedly spent much of the last year moving between China and Iran. Hundreds of commercial tankers are now stranded on both sides of the strait after Iran halted traffic in the strait over the weekend, reversing course on its decision to effectively open it on Friday, agreeing with the United States. Tehran now telling shippers they must use new traffic lanes along the Iranian coast. But President Trump told me yesterday on the phone that it was the U.S. who closed the strait because of the blockade. U.S. officials are gearing up for another round of talks in Pakistan tonight.
Now, this is why Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz again, if you're not caught up already. They closed the strait again because the U.S. kept its naval blockade up. Iran was actually letting through all the ships, but the U.S. was pretty much keeping up its naval blockade and blocking Iranian ports, saying that, look, we'll let everybody in, but you guys. And Iran was like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then we'll just close down the strait and nobody gets through. So that's the difference. When pretty much they had the strait open, when Iran let the strait open and all these guys were going through, America was actually stopping Iranian ships and letting the other ships go through. So everybody was allowed to go but Iran. Iran said, we're not doing that. They closed the strait again, and here we are once again with the Strait of Hormuz closed.
Night. The Iranians, however, still no response on this meeting. The state media is suggesting that Iran might not show up, although AP reported this morning that the meeting is on, and President Trump told me yesterday a deal will be signed tonight. Meanwhile, House Democrats are now discussing plans to force a vote on an Iran war powers resolution every day until one passes or U.S. operations in the region end, as the conflict approaches the 60-day mark. February 28th is when it started. Joining me now is California Congressman Ro Khanna. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to see you, Maria.
And I want to get your take on where.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, by the way. And depending on how you're watching, make sure to smash that like button.
You introduced a bill to stop U.S. oil exports during the conflict in Iran. Why do you want to stop U.S. oil exports during this conflict?
Maria, it's common sense. Why would we be sending our oil overseas when Americans are getting fleeced at the pump? When gas has gone from $2.30 to $4, we should have our oil supply for Americans. And that would,
I mean, yeah, that is only going to drain our oil supply further. And here's the thing, like, these guys buying their oil from us does not help prices. Like, it doesn't at all, because that 20% of oil is still missing from the global supply that comes out of the Strait of Hormuz. So yeah, us selling oil is not helping nobody, and it definitely ain't helping us. It helps some oil execs, but not the American people, especially when it comes to the price you're paying at the pump.
bring down the price. This was a giveaway in 2015 to the big oil companies. Yeah, it's good for them. It's not good for the average consumer.
I don't know if it's a giveaway, really, but the truth is the president told the nation just the other day, and we know this to be true, that the U.S. is producing more oil and gas.
Did she go? Huh? Oh.
The U.S. was producing, as you know, more oil and gas at a record level, even under Joe Biden. The point is, though, why are we exporting it? And Maria, the biggest point.
And then here's the thing: we use more and more energy, like year over year. So I'm sorry, but the reason why we produce so much is because we're using so much. And let's be honest, if we were just producing so much gas and oil, then trust me, these oil prices wouldn't be rising, energy prices wouldn't be rising, and we wouldn't be seeing an increase in inflation if that was the case.
Is why have we gotten into a war that has led to the closing of the Strait of Hormuz? The strait was perfectly open 60 days ago. And, you know, I talked, as I know you do, I talked to some of the senior finance guys at Wall Street, JP Morgan, others. They thought that this war would have been over in 3 weeks. This war has gone on 60 days. It's hurting the economy. It's putting our lives at risk. We've got Khamenei Jr. in charge, was actually more hardline with the IRGC. We have a worse regime in there. What have we achieved?
Are you saying that you do not think it's a good idea to defang Iran from having a nuclear weapon?
Absolutely, we should do that. But this is not achieving that. We now have Khamenei Jr. who actually wants to.
I mean, let's be real. It's not. If anything, we're pushing them further towards a nuclear weapon. And if it was all about handling their nuclear enrichment, then we should have kept under the deal that Obama left them in or had with them, which was a JCPOA, which we had an oversight over their enrichment program. We had them only enriching at 3.6%. We had all of that monitored. We had all of it recorded. And for some reason, when we got out of that, we didn't want to get back into it with them. But we did commit a whole lot of acts of aggression towards Iran that pushed them towards that 60% enrichment that they've been at since 2021, by the way. So that also proves that, well, if Iran wanted to make a bomb and it was at 60% in 2021, then why didn't they just rush to it when nobody was even worried about them and we were too preoccupied with Russia?
Do that. So, Congressman, how do you expect to do that?
I'll tell you how
your plan? Hold on. What is your plan to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon?
Well, this is not doing it. This is putting Iran closer on the trajectory of a nuclear weapon because Khamenei Sr., who we assassinated.
That's not
true. No, it is. No, that's true, because every time we show an act of aggression towards Iran, they push closer and closer towards a nuclear weapon. That's just the fact of the matter. When we got out of the JCPOA and we put the sanctions back on them, act of aggression, we made the IRGC a terrorist group, act of aggression, and then we killed General Qasem Soleimani. That was an act of aggression, and that was from 2018 to 2020. Then in 2021, they pop out with 60% enrichment. What does that tell you? The more you aggress on them, the faster they go towards it. It was the same thing with North Korea. But then again, I'll be honest with you, though. North Korea was they was pretty determined to get a nuke. There was nothing we could honestly tell them. There wasn't even really even willing to work out a deal. But at least Iran was. And we had them under it, except we pulled out of it.
That's not true. President Obama.
Let me just finish,
President
Maria.
Obama,
Let me just finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
You know, look, Kavanaugh Jr. is saying he wants to develop it. The more hardline IRGC is in. What we need is the enriched uranium. Even Vice President Vance acknowledges it. That is underground. You can't bomb to get that. You need diplomacy. We should be sitting down with Oman, with other nations. Now that maybe we have leverage, we should be getting a deal. But to be threatening to wipe out Iranian civilization, to be threatening to blockade the Strait of Hormuz and close it, hurting the economy, that's just not rational policy.
Now, President, look, are you saying that you want diplomacy with Iran and you think that they're going to tell you the truth?
Well, they was telling the IAEA the truth, and here's the thing: they didn't even have to tell the IAEA the truth. They had eyes on the ground. I mean, the religious fatwas that the old Ayatollah had that forbid nuclear weapons, said it was a sin against God since 2004, and they kept that up, and they still haven't had a nuke till this day. They don't even have a nuclear weapons program, guys. That, like, literally no nuclear weapons program, no evidence of a nuke, no nothing. But we're over here fear mongering, talking about, oh, well, they have a nuke and they'll nuke us tomorrow, or they're 2 weeks away, even though we've been saying that for decades now. Or at least
told us months ago that they did not have any long-range missiles, and then they sent a long-range missile to the Diego Garcia Island. So I'm just trying to understand what your plan would be to defang Iran from a nuclear weapon, because right now, as the president has said many times, Iran's Navy is gone, the Air Force is gone, the leadership is gone, and yes, it impacted the economy and the Iranian people.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen. Let's try to get to 100 likes, guys, so we can do that by smashing that like button, or, well, double tapping that screen, depending on how you're watching.
Are begging President Trump to finish the job. I mean, we had on Reza Pahlavi, a ton of other Iranian citizens who say, please, President Trump, help us. So exactly what are you saying? You're saying you would rather the president do diplomatic talks, and you think they're going to tell us the truth?
Maria, I'll tell you what the Iranian people are not begging for. They're not begging for Donald Trump to wipe out Iranian civilization. Yeah. They're not begging for him to blow up every power plant and threaten war crimes. And they don't like the fact that we have actually a more hardline regime in there. They have not created a regime that is respecting human.
Bro, we blew up all the moderates. All the guys that were actually working out deals with us, that was willing to give over their uranium and all that good stuff, gone. Blew them up, sadly. And now we're dealing with the hardliners who don't want to give up their nuclear enrichment. The president of Iran is talking about, hey, yo, no, we have a right to enrich, and you're not going to take that away from us. So, I mean, there goes that. And but they did break a little bit of ground, which Trump completely rejected when they said, look, well, we'll give it to you, but you need to, release about $20 billion of our assets. And you already know what Trump said. Oh, hell no.
Rights or protesters. And the reality is, yes, I don't trust Iran. Obviously, Reagan had said trust to verify.
You can't sit there and tell me that you are talking about Iran's human rights when the way they treat.
Oh, guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just send in a super chat. Appreciate the support, or you can go ahead and send in support on Venmo as well. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's get right back into it. And don't forget to double tap that screen and like the video, guys.
Women and the way they treat citizens, are there moral equivalence between the way President Trump treats citizens and the Are you putting an equivalency there?
No, I'm not putting an equivalency. What I'm saying is that we have not created a regime that actually is respecting human rights. We have a regime that is more hardline. There is no democracy emerging. There is no regime that's actually closer to the United States. Actually, what we've done is we've increased China's role in the region. Now they want to have oil transactions in the yuan, not in the dollar. And so what we've done is actually lost influence.
And this is what's killing me as well. Dog. We might actually really be hurting ourselves or speeding up the process of de-dollaration. And, de-dollaration is pretty much where countries start dropping our dollar. We no longer have the petrodollar anymore, which means we can no longer recklessly print money the way we have been doing for decades. So, yeah, and that's in danger. And if you don't believe me, let's go ahead and head over to here at our guys at Yahoo Finance. Let me go ahead and mainstream it for you guys. So, UAE officials reportedly warned, Here it is. UAE officials reportedly warned they may be forced to use yuan, the Chinese yuan, or other currencies if they run low on dollars amid the Iran war. So, yeah, this is hurting our allies, and our allies are trying to turn to, I would say, believe it or not, safer partners. And I know what you're saying, like China. I mean, Sarah, you really trying to say that China's a safer partner than the US? Actually, yes, because China don't care what you do. They really don't. They'll do business with you no matter what. So, yeah, this is actually pushing other countries, even our allies, towards China and Russia. I mean, if you can't trust one superpower to you can't trust your superpower to stay out of trouble and not drag you into it, then you got to go to somebody else. And if you can't also trust that superpower to protect you, even though you got bases in, you let them have bases in your country, then yeah, that's also going to push somebody to another superpower. But as you see, oh wow, sorry guys, ads low key killing me on this. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get right back to it, though, because now you see what's going on at this point. This is like not really helping us out, especially when it comes to our allies. But all right, let's go ahead and get back to it. My man Rohana. Oh, God, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
In that region, and we haven't gotten the enriched uranium. I mean, that is the problem.
Well, I think that President Trump is trying to negotiate that. And he told me yesterday directly that he's expecting a deal to be signed tonight in Pakistan. I want to move on to other issues because I know you're doing a lot, Congressman, and we appreciate that. But here's my final question on this issue. Are you suggesting that Obama's leadership on Iran was better? Because under President Obama, there were 14 wire transfers to hold on. There were 14 wire transfers to a Swiss account linked to Hezbollah between 2014 and 2016. That was a total of $1.7 billion. The same $1.7 billion he told Congress was frozen Iranian assets. Now, there was a back channel to Tehran through Valerie Jarrett, active for 2012 to 2024. This was after he left office. So, it was almost like a shadow government. He also sent pellets of cash in a plane to Iran. Now, why would you?
Yeah, because what was the deal about the JCPOA? Look, Iran, this is literally what Obama proposed. He's like, look, we want eyes on your nuclear capabilities. You're going to let the IAEA in. You're going to keep it at 3.6%. You're going to keep at a certain stockpile. And how about this? Well, we'll go ahead and release sanctions. So we're gonna have to give you like billions of dollars. I'll put it on the plane to you. I'll fly it out, and it's all good. And that worked out, actually. Yes, guys, it actually worked out. And then Trump got out of it, pretty much got out of the deal, put back on the sanctions, and pretty much now Iran is start aggressing towards that 60% enrichment. Of course, you got to go ahead and throw in the what was it? The assassination of Qasem Soleimani. And then, of course, you got to also throw in the IRGC on the terrorist watch list. So, well, not terrorist watch list, but on the terrorist list.
You send money to Iran knowing that they are building a nuclear weapon and they are the leading sponsor of terrorism.
Man.
Barack Obama was a great statesman who left America much safer. I wouldn't put Donald Trump in the same paragraph. The reality is when President Obama left, because of the great efforts of people like Valerie Jarrett, we had 97% of the enriched uranium out. The reality is we didn't have 13 American service members dead. The reality is we never had gas go up from $2.30 to $4. The reality is we did not give China more role in the region. Let me finish, Maria. I'll let you finish.
Okay,
we didn't give China more role in the region. We did not give the IRGC a more hardline regime in there. You know why?
Yeah, we didn't lift sanctions off Russian oil so they could, fuel their war machine. Yeah. Oh, and we also extended. Yeah, we extended those the lifting of the sanctions on Russian oil. Why? Because the Strait of Hormuz was still closed, and now we actually still need that Russian oil in the market. So, ain't that about a bitch?
Because Obama actually did his homework. He actually tried to engage in statesmanship. He got China, Russia, the entire European allies on board with getting Iran on a path to not having a nuclear weapon. All Trump did is listen to Netanyahu. That's his entire foreign policy. And you know what? I resent the fact that.
Oh, guys, man, let's go ahead and try to get to 100 likes by double tapping that screen and liking the video. Also, how we get more people in the conversation. So do me a favor, Ed. double tap that screen. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just go ahead and send in a super chat. Appreciate the support. All right.
Israel is going to tell the United States what to do. The American president should call the shots in this country.
And, well, the American president should call the shots in this country, but you and your colleagues are trying to clip his wings right now with this war powers vote. I agree. The president is in charge. But look, a lot of the things that you just said are just not true, Congressman. I mean, look, we have to look at this realistically. And President Obama sent money to the Iranians. And what did they do? They resumed their buildup of
That's not true.
Enrichment.
That's not true.
Yeah, what's not true? What's not true? What's specific?
No, it's not true. I mean, when Obama sent them that money, they abided by the JCPOA guidelines on their enrichment program. So, no, that is not true. Like, the only reason why they started funding more of their proxies and going towards that 60% enrichment is because we pulled out of the JCPOA. And that's the problem with Fox and these neocons. They don't tell you the other side. They don't even tell you the in-between. They leave out a lot of, like, context. And trust me, like, you just can't stop it off at, oh, well, they got under the JCPOA and that's it. We just, like, got out of it. And they just went towards 60%. No, that's not how it happened at all. I mean, bro, there was a lot that happened between that 2018 time period to 2020. Well, yeah, 2020 that happened. You just can't sit there and say that, oh, I'm sorry, but sorry, S.E.T. But yeah, they were just duplicitous actors the whole time. The JCPOA was all a fraud and the money scheme, and Obama just wanted to give them money for no reason. No, guys, sorry, don't be so simple-minded. When we pulled out of the JCPOA, when Trump did in 2018, he put back the sanctions on Iran that Obama lifted. That's the whole reason why they even got the pallets of cash. It didn't even come from the American people. And that's how duplicitous like Fox News is about this, because they frame it as if it came from us, but it didn't. And I need y'all to understand that it did not come from us. It came from frozen assets that we kept from the Iranians. So now that y'all got that out your head, let's move forward. Once we put on those acts of aggressions of the sanctions, IRGC on the terrorist list, and also killing a general, that's what pushed them towards enrichment. Because I'm sorry, but wouldn't you do the same thing? You were just in an agreement with these people. Now all of a sudden they pull out. They expect you to stay in it, bro. They make you a terrorist state, kill a general, put back on the sanctions. Oh, and you're just supposed to abide by the rules of the agreement that they pulled out of. Like, do y'all hear yourselves? Okay. Oh, make sure to double tap that screen like the video, guys.
Specifically about that sentence is not true.
There was a deal that we reached to get 97% of the enriched uranium out. In the process of that, Iran had certain assets that were Iranian assets, wasn't our money, that was unfrozen. And that was a deal that China, Russia, France, UK, Canada, the United States all agreed to. And then you had Netanyahu come in and try to torpedo it, and AIPAC tried to torpedo that deal. We were on a path to having a denuclear Iran, but what happened is it wasn't in Netanyahu's interest and AIPAC's interest, and they've dragged it.
Well, look, bro, I hate to admit it, but no, bro, this is not me glazing Obama. This is just the fact of the matter that the deal that Obama had Iran under pretty much solves all of our problems that we're dealing with today with Iran. So the smart move that Trump should have did back in his first term was just to leave that deal in place or tweak it a bit to where it's a bit more strict. But he didn't. He just got out of it completely. And that's honestly led us down the path to where we are today.
Into another war in the Middle East. They've hurt American people, and the American people are tired of it. They want people who are going to be Team America. They want people who are going to bring gas prices down here and care about our nation and get us out of these wars. And that's why Obama won. He was against the Iraq war. That's why he was on a path to normalization in terms of getting Iran to be denuclear, and had the whole world on our side. And AIPAC, Netanyahu.
No. Obama was popping off at wars in other places as well. Like, nah, that man wasn't a saint either in the Middle East. It's just that when he came to Iran, he knew what the red line was with them. And I mean, every president knew that Iran really wasn't anything just to F with. For some reason, they've been like, Israel's been trying to sell to us that, oh, they're weak now. We need to attack them. They're this existential threat. They want to nuke you tomorrow. And every president told Bibi to go kick rocks. We're not doing that because they kind of seen this playing out just like this, sadly. So the worst part about this is that our president took the word of Well, the Mossad and Bibi Netanyahu over, well, his generals and CIA. And that's why we're in this predicament today, actually. Pretty tough, ain't it?
That up.
Relax. Congressman, it doesn't change the fact that 10 presidents before President Trump
I'm having
all
trouble
said the
hearing
same
you.
thing.
I think there's some connection issue.
Congressman,
Now I can hear you.
Congressman, it doesn't change the fact that 10 presidents before President Trump all said the same thing. Iran cannot.
Hey, and shout out to my man Josh for sending the clapping seal for $250. Appreciate it. Support my man, because every 100 joules equal $1. So shout out. Let me go ahead and give you a shout out real quick.
Not have a nuclear weapon. They are the leading state sponsor of terrorism. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
And one president delivered, and that was Barack Obama.
No, that's not true. Not one
Barack
of them did
Obama is the only one who delivered.
Congressman, you're talking fantasy.
97%
Obama did
out.
nothing about it. You're talking fantasy. Obama did nothing about
Not true.
it. Other than send money to the Iranians.
Obama got the whole world. He didn't send money to them. That's just factually false. He unfroze Iranian assets, but he had the whole world behind
that's
us. How many
true.
countries do we have?
That's what kills me, though. It's like they really put this duplicitous spin on the JCP away. Like, oh, he just sent them money. He supports terrorism. It's like, no, guys. I don't even know why y'all believe that BS. No, he unfroze. He took off the sanctions, unfroze Iranian assets, and sent the money to them. It's like, I'm sorry, but it didn't come out of the pockets of the American people. But for some reason, that's how Fox News got to spin it to you to make this seem like Obama's just this evil terrorist supporter. I mean, shit, trust me, my man was doing way more against terrorism than supporting terrorism. I'll tell you that right now.
Behind us now. Obama had Russia, China, Canada, UK.
And, well, be real, it's also fueling more conflicts in the Middle East as well. So, I mean, no president. I mean, let's be real. A lot of presidents are guilty of that.
France, the whole
Russia,
world
okay.
on board,
Well,
and they lost 97%.
Congressman, now you lost me. Saying Obama had Russia and China in their corner. I think you know better than most that Russia and China are not in our corner. Congressman, we will continue this discussion, and we appreciate you.
I don't know about that, man. Russia made that big move on Crimea under Obama. Obama was like, you know what? You got it, bro. I'm just not going to do anything about it. Hey, Crimea, you Russia now. Like, what could he do? What are you going to do? Go to war with Russia? All right, guys, let's go ahead and get right back into it with our guys over here back at Fox again. Then we're going to go see what the left is talking about.
Vice President J.D. Vance is reportedly set to head to Pakistan today for a new round of peace talks with Iran.
Right. I say Pakistan, you say Pakistan. Yeah.
Lawrence dated a girl from there, and she said you have to say Pakistan.
Right. Pakistan.
But I kind of mixed it. I did Pakistan.
Yep. A little bit later, we'll find out and maybe get that girl on the phone. We'll find out what's going on with you two. But President Trump is now accusing Iran of violating the ceasefire, which expires tomorrow.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks joins us live from Israel with the latest. Hey, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. The ceasefire between the United States and Iran is set to end this week. The U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and the American delegation are expected to travel to Pakistan today, going to Islamabad. State media in Iran, though, says the Iranian delegation has not yet departed for the talks. Iran parliament speaker posted to X overnight saying Trump, by imposing a siege and violating the ceasefire, seeks to turn this negotiating table in his own imagination into a table of surrender or to justify renewed warmongering. We do not accept negotiations under the shadow of threats. And in the past 2 weeks...
Hey, and shout out Steph for sending the clapping seals for 250 joules. Appreciate the support, sis. Oh, God. Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. And, shout out to Pakistan for actually trying to get this pushed through. A lot of people are putting pressure on Iran and America to get this war, over with, especially like China, Pakistan, Japan. Pretty much the people who are affected the most by this are pretty much asking us to wrap this shit up. Like, guys, we're running low on fuel. 50 to 80% of our fuel comes out of the Strait of Hormuz. So like America, I know you say you're good and that's nice and all, but we're not. So can you guys please wrap this up? And this is how pretty much countries are pleading to us right now. And that's reasonable.
Get prepared to reveal new cards on the battlefield. The reality is that Iran has violated the ceasefire multiple times, specifically in the Strait of Hormuz, where only 16 vessels passed through on Monday. President Trump has indicated he's unlikely to extend the ceasefire, saying this overnight.
Frankly, everyone is. They don't talk about it. But you can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You want to see a stock market get hit. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And they'll use it here. They'll take out the Middle East. They'll knock out Israel in the Middle East. And they'll come to Europe and they'll come here because they are, let's say, ill, very ill. And we can't let that happen.
The president also posted a number of times to Truth Social saying, in part, Israel never talked me into the war with Iran. The results of October 7th added to my lifelong opinion that Iran can never have a nuclear.
Bruv, I'm sorry, but what does Iran got to do with October 7th? Like, I'm sorry, but Iran got nothing to do with the plight of Hamas and why they did October 7th. Like, Operation Alexa Flood had really nothing to do with Iran. It had everything to do with, well, the plight of the Palestinians. So adding that on top of it is just like, come on, bro. It's like the same BS with the 40,000 dead protesters. Like, come on now. You're just inflating the numbers just to make Iran. Well, I'm going to be real with you. They was wild for killing 3,000 protesters. That's wild. But to try to inflate it to like 40,000, 45,000, 100,000. Now you're just trying to sell a war at this point. And y'all know it. You guys know it at this point. The number changes every month. So it's kind of crazy how we're just adding everything on top of Iran. I mean, bro, they was even trying to say all the roadside bombs in Iraq was Iran. I'm just like, all of them, bro? Come on now. Come on. Most of them was made by the Iraqis. It even had the, bro, it even said made in Iraq, but okay. Okay.
Nuclear weapon. The Israelis agree with that position and have indicated they are prepared if the war resumes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying this at a Memorial Day ceremony late Monday.
Our flag is planted from the depths of the Gaza Strip to the crown of Mount Hermon, and our pilots control the skies of the region as definitive proof of our superiority over the Iranian axis. We have not yet finished the work, but the world is already recognizing our determination to defend ourselves, and not only ourselves, but to defend humanity from barbaric fanaticism.
President Trump posting to Truth Social that Iran has violated the ceasefire numerous times. This is true not just in the Strait of Hormuz, but remember, in the early hours of this agreement, they were still launching ballistic missiles at Israel and Gulf countries. Guys?
Hey, Trey, could you give me an idea? Are we letting ships through? Because we're seeing different reports. First, nobody's getting through. Then we boarded a ship that tried to get through. Do you have any reporting that talks about what's really happening in the Strait?
Yeah, the United States is allowing any vessels who are passing through this area to make their way to their final destination as long as they're not coming from Iranian ports. There were some reports overnight indicating...
And that's why Iran shut down the Strait of Hormuz, is because everybody else was allowed to get through but them. So they said, all right, then, if you're going to close it on your side for us, we're just going to close it up for everybody. And that's exactly what they did. So this is why pretty much Trump was pretty much outraged, talking about, you know what? I mean, you know, what, power plant and bridge day is still on the table. We can still resume that or, you know, get to it. And once again, like I said, I mean, bro, if he's talking about, and he did say, take out every power plant and bridge in Iran, I was like, yeah, bro, that's war crimes. But I mean, hey, according to MAGA, I'm sorry, but if you're Trump, war crimes don't exist no more. And since Trump is in office, fuck international law. So if that's your argument, then hey, there ain't really nothing to talk about.
The 26 vessels from Iran's shadow fleet were able to make it past the U.S. blockade. There is no evidence of that. And despite what one Democratic senator talked about, there is a concerted effort by the United States to ensure that any vessels that are coming from Iranian ports are turned around or seized, as we saw with that one cargo ship over the weekend.
So, Trey, that was just Iranian propaganda, right?
Yes, absolutely. And the shadow fleet that the senator is talking about is used to directly fund Iranian proxies across the Middle East, including Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah, who are directly responsible for killing U.S. citizens. And so the shadow fleet is a very serious problem. It is not getting past the U.S. blockade, according to all reports and information that we have from the region. But it is a very serious issue that the U.S. Navy says they will crack down on, not just in the Persian Gulf, but also around the world, including in the Indo-Pacific.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
That's what I'm talking about.
The fact that he said Hamas, I don't even think Hamas even has a reach to even touch American citizens, but Hezbollah for sure, though. Hezbollah for sure. I mean, shit, if he said Hamas kills IDF soldiers and Israelis, I mean, for sure. But come on now, American citizens and soldiers, I mean, I don't even think they got reach like that. But all right, well, I don't know, depending if you were Israeli American in the October 7th, and yeah, I guess that counts. But all right, though, let's get over to CNN and let's see what they're talking about. And guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen. Let's get to 100 likes because we're at 48. So let's go ahead and start double tapping that screen. And if you have any question, comments, jokes, disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just go ahead and send in a super chat. Or if you just want to support the show, send in a gift, just like Steph and my man Josh did. Appreciate the support, guys.
CNN has also learned that last week, the U.S. and Iran were closing in on a deal. But Trump's social media frenzy and media interviews hurt the negotiations. Some Trump officials privately acknowledged to CNN that Trump's public commentary has, in fact, been detrimental to these talks.
My sense is that the president doesn't have a clear idea of what he wants. He has a general idea. I think if I were chief negotiator for Iran, what I would do what the Iranians always do. I would just lie. Say, we're going to give up our nukes, take them, come, we'll arrange this, we'll negotiate the means, and we'll get this done. And then the reason being, the real nuclear weapon is the Strait of Hormuz. You don't have to go and mess around with A-bombs. You have a choke point where the Iranians have humbled the whole free enterprise system. They panicked everybody. Every American watching this program and walking the streets that has a car is looking at
and here's a problem, Trump administration and Pete Hegseth and Trump like to say that, they have no cards, we're completely decimating them. And we are. We're decimating them in Iran, bombing the shit out of them. But here's the problem though. They're still able to project power over the Strait of Hormuz. And the problem with that is because Iran has these underground cities where they shoot rockets from inside of mountains. And they have straight access to the Strait of Hormuz. So passing through the Strait of Hormuz, you got a lot of problems. You got the mines, you got these damn kamikaze speedboats, you got the missiles, and you also got drones that you got to worry about. Those are four things you got to worry about that Iran can hit you with if you try to go through the Strait of Hormuz without their permission. And we have only solved maybe one of those problems, the mines.
Every day at the price of gasoline, and their lives are upended. This was a war that they had no idea was going to last this long. It's so messy. And no one knows really when it's going to end or whether the president will drag his heels and pull as much as he can, temporizing, ad hoc, improvise.
So, Horace, to Geraldo's point, there's been Reuters had an interesting story about European allies being afraid that an inexperienced U.S. negotiating team is pushing for a swift, headline-grabbing framework for Iran that would entrench rather than resolve deeper problems. The concern, according to the diplomats, is not that there won't be an agreement. It's that there will be a bad initial agreement that creates endless downstream problems. Another negotiator said, "It took us 12 years and immense technical work. Does anyone think that this can be done in 21 hours?"
I'm really surprised to hear that the chocolatiers of planet Earth are complaining about the leadership that is being shown in this effort. We now know that they had developed a missile capacity that actually could reach the greatest croissant and coffee bars in Europe. And yet, only America stepped in to act.
I was wondering where the chocolate.
Well, why would they want to get dragged into a regional war that, they don't agree with? Let's be real. A lot of people in Europe, a lot of these countries, they see this as an illegal war. So they don't want to get involved in that. And then also, who wants to get involved with war with Iran? Trump is asking them to open the strait. And they're looking at Trump like, bro, you can't even open the strait. What makes you think we can? Especially when he asked NATO, I was like, dog, we're NATO. You're basically asking us to open the strait, and we can't even do it. I thought guys, like MAGA, we were making this joke last year when we said, NATO's going to do something to us. What, so we're going to fight ourselves? Come on now.
Your thing came from. I was wondering if I missed that memo.
Well, look, as we've discussed before, that may be true. But it also begs the question, why didn't the Trump administration even bother to involve the Europeans in a decision to go into this war. But then
Abby.
secondly, on the issue of whether Trump just wants a headline, is it a risk here that he might get a headline, but that the real work of verifying, removing nuclear materials, all of that gets left for someone else to deal with, or gets left for the indefinite future, in which we're just going back and forth with the Iranians for years and years and years about how to actually make sure that this thing is verified?
Yeah, this gives new meaning to loose lips sink ships. I mean, literally, he is putting our safety at risk by not being disciplined. And what concerns me most of all is that as I'm moving around Georgia and talking to people, the affordability issue is still not being addressed.
Nope.
Gas prices.
Actually, it's been exacerbated. I mean, think about it. Inflation's up 2.4 up to 3.3%. Gas prices up. Everybody's been seeing a $1 increase in their gas. Most people are seeing a $1 increase in their gas. So, guys, I'm sorry, but it's really hard to sit here and defend Trump when these are all facts. And the fact that he said no new wars, especially with Iran. He even condemned Obama for even like considering the idea of it. So it's kind of crazy how we're all here now, and MAGA is persistent on supporting this war, even though it's proven to be a bad idea, and we haven't not got any of our goals done. And like I said, the people who are really paying for this war is us. They're asking for more money from the American people. They're asking us for more time while dealing with higher prices. It's like, bro, really? How do y'all expect me to defend this? I can't. Y'all asked me to defend the indefensible, and I'm talking to MAGA here. Yeah, and I love y'all, but y'all really asking me to defend the indefensible.
Are still going up across this nation, and there is a concept for
Oh, before somebody says the idiotic argument of, but you're okay with Biden's inflation. No, Nick, bro, how dumb are you? On a scale from just stupid to retarded, how dumb are you? I'll answer for you. You're retarded. Why? Because we voted for better. The whole reason you voted for Trump is because you didn't want to go through high inflation again. You understood we needed to bring down inflation. We needed to raise wages. So think about it like this. Wages are raising by what? Maybe only 3%, but prices are going up by like 20, 30%. And we were on a good trail. We were actually catching up to that before this war. Once this war popped off, all that progress is now being walked back. So I'm sorry, but we voted for better, not more of the same. And once you start seeing more of the same, you should be able to hold Trump accountable for that, not just say, but Biden. I mean, yeah, I know Biden had crazy inflation. That's why we voted him out. That's why we voted for Trump. It's kind of crazy you're willing to sit there and see the same thing that Biden was basically giving us and just sit there and say, oh, but Biden. Bro, we was at 2.4. Any type of walking back on that, you guys should be angry about. But instead, you're sitting here telling us what short-term pain for long-term gain? Really?
Plan of war. There is no plan.
Yeah, that works.
And it is creating chaos in the lives of people. And I think you're going to see this reflected in the way that people show up this election year, this midterm cycle, to express their frustration with Donald Trump.
The president himself seems to be getting frustrated. The Wall Street Journal had a piece about this, as we talked about in the introduction here, and he's distracted. He wants to get back to the ballroom. He at one point mused that he should award himself the nation's highest military honor, the Medal of Honor.
Was it?
I don't know.
Yes, it was a joke. That's how we joke. I mean, come on.
Maybe it was.
All right, that's wild as hell, Trump. You can't walk us into a war that you campaigned on not walking us into, then say, you know what? I think I deserve a Medal of Honor. You know, I did the unthinkable. I had the balls to go against Iran. When no, bro. You were just the guy gullible enough to fall for Bibi Netanyahu's lies, because Israel lobby's been putting racks in your pocket, aka Mariel Edison then put $250 million in your pocket, and now it's you know what? My fellow Israelis will never lead me wrong. And look where we're at, guys.
It's a joke.
Oh, but make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. We got about over 300 y'all in here, man. Do me a favor and double tap that screen. Let's get to 100 likes.
But Trump wants this thing done, and it's not done, and it may not be done I mean, he did extend the deadline. He extended it probably another day. So it may not be done even with that extended deadline.
That's the biggest disadvantage he has in this negotiation. He wants it resolved because he wants the oil prices to go back down. He wants the gas prices to go back down. He wants inflation to go back down. And he doesn't have any control over that. Iran still controls the Strait of Hormuz. So that means he's in a position to make a bad deal. And I don't think he wants to be in that position. But that's the reason why you have decisions that are being made where they're keeping him out of the room because they're afraid he's so mercurial.
No, that's not why. That's not what the reporting said. That's not what the reporting said.
He's concerned. It sounds like he's nervous that whatever comes out of this might be compared to the JCPOA. He's been sending.
But he should be concerned about whether or not we're going to revert back to a plan that wasn't particularly serving this country.
But I guess my point is that if he thinks that it's even a close call, that what he might get out of this is substantially similar enough that people might compare it to the thing that he pulled out of. That seems to indicate a state of mind here.
But the Wall Street Journal, this report, made it clear that he's actually really involved and he's been hesitant to make moves that could cost American lives. He's doing the opposite of what we were told by a lot of Democrats early on, that he was impulsive, that he's a warmonger. The reporting suggests completely the opposite.
No, here's the problem. Even Trump understands that, putting boots on the ground is just going to be the end of it. I mean, really, it's going to be the end of his presidency. And no, he hasn't been able to sell it to the American people that, putting boots on the ground is, the best thing to do. And here's the thing. If you guys want to complete y'all goals of regime change and go ahead and get the nuclear enrichment under our control, then boots on the ground, would be our best option. But the problem is, how much will we lose doing that? And is the American people ready to see that, or ready to deal with that, or ready to see the flag draped coffins coming back by the hundreds? Are y'all okay with that? Because that's what some of these people are pushing for. Shoot. Well, then there's Mark Levin talking about, we should nuke them. Randy Fine, we should nuke them. So there's even more extreme, I say people who are a bit more extreme on Iran than just boots on the ground. People even talk about nuking them.
I mean, part of the reason why they wanted to pull him out of the room for some of the conversations on the rescuing of American pilots was because he was eager to get minute by minute updates, because he actually wanted to protect an American citizen. That's actually something that we would want from our president, although can it get in the way? Sure, we've all been in positions where maybe we're a little bit too eager for an update from God knows what, but that's the reality.
He thought this war would be over in days. He had no idea.
He said from the beginning.
He had no idea that it was going to be this protracted struggle, and this fight, this gutter fight, this knife fight. He had no idea, and because it is improv, you never know where sometimes it's genius, and other times it's disastrous. What's going to happen in Islamabad if the Iranians say you have to blink first in terms of the Strait of Hormuz? What's going to happen? And there'll be an impasse. What's the president going to say? You're going to wipe out your civilization?
Well, we have the leverage right now over Iran. We don't have to worry about anything beyond right now the politics, which is an important piece of all of this. Well, we have double the amount of air forces right now.
And yet we're still not
around the region.
I mean, we have double the amount of air forces, yet we still can't get the Strait of Hormuz open. We have double the amount of air forces. We have all these big, beautiful boats and the ships in the sea, and we can't get the Strait of Hormuz open. I mean, like I said, I get the military flexing, but it's not really working out for us right now. Like, that's the problem. It's like, it's like we're walking around like a swole guy flexing their muscles, but bro ain't got no work. He can't fight. And we can fight. We definitely can. The problem is that when it comes to opening the Strait of Hormuz, all that doesn't seem to matter. Oh, we have air dominance, destroyed their navy. I mean, we destroyed their navy, but they're still controlling a waterway. Like, how'd that work? Oh, well, they still got their speedboats. So we took out all the big ships. Well, I guess they still got their navy in a way.
Yeah. So you could say that the whole Western of Europe has an advantage over Iran. If you were just talking about the United States muscle compared to Iranian muscle, of course the United States has the muscle.
Then we do have.
It's the question of whether or not you really want to use all that to what?
When the Strait of Hormuz, when the Strait of Hormuz is slowed down or stopped, does it hurt the United States as much as it hurts Iran economically? That's a big piece of that is a very big piece of the leverage that we have. It's not like anything. But I'm sorry, but we do have an economic leverage point over Iran.
We're in that place right now where the Strait of Hormuz is shut down.
It is.
And we will find out exactly how much leverage that gives us, because it's been a minute since the blockade has worked. But Iran is still, we're not at a deal yet. We have not.
Iran has
we're not at a deal yet.
Iran has more cards than the Trump administration was ever willing to admit. And we are the world's greatest military power.
What are the cards? We have one, right?
Let me finish. We are the world's greatest military power, the United States. We have a $1 trillion military budget. We spend more on our defense than the next 10 nations combined. Iran is not even in that list. They're a middle power. And yet after how many days has it been now? 48 days we've been at war with them, and we still have 51. We still haven't been able to defeat them because they control the Strait of Hormuz. Something that everyone who thought about
that is a critical point. We spend all this money on our military, and yet we spend trillions of dollars. Iran, they barely spend 100 billion, barely. I doubt they even spend that on their military. Yet they're able to, once again, control the Strait of Hormuz and keep us away from there, enrich uranium. They still have the regime in power. They're still able to pull all this off while we have a stronger military. And this is what an asymmetric warfare is them controlling the Strait of Hormuz, knowing that it's hurting the global economy and it's making it harder for us to, carry out our active aggressions on them or carry out war on them. Which people want to say it's a conflict, but let's be real. Donald Trump kind of switches the language up every day. Oh, it's a conflict. Oh, it's a war. We're about to, the war's over. Oh, no way, I can't call it a war because I got to go through Congress.
Everyone who thought about this knew that was likely to happen, except Donald Trump was so mercurial again that he was willing to rush in without thinking about the consequences.
No, I know that is a piece of the talking point.
No, that's the reality.
But the reality is, from a military perspective, we could, in fact, destroy Iran. We're choosing not to do that because that would be,
because that's
a war crime.
genocide.
Exactly
and
my
Trump
point.
is threatening genocide on a regular basis.
No, he's
he did so on Easter.
Jason, let me let you finish your points.
And one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't want Trump to commit to, bombing the bridges and energy plants is because Iran's going to commit to bombing bridges and energy plants across the Middle East, like in Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar. All of them are going to have their energy infrastructures completely attacked and probably a pipeline severed. And trust me, Iran knows where they're at. They have the capability to do so. They have hypersonic missiles. So if it ever pops off, who's going to stop them?
So we can understand where you're going with
where I'm going is that we had clear military objectives, which we have achieved. We have a greater vulnerability. That's not just for the United States, but for the world, that the Strait of Hormuz has been under the control of Iran. That is not in the best interest of anyone. This right now is making that point. The Strait of Hormuz is supposed to be open for every single country to travel through. And if we're able to...
That was not a military objective. The Strait of Hormuz was open when it started.
So it's not. So...
the Strait of Hormuz was like an added military objective because Iran decided to close it and use it against us, sadly. Oh, guys, make sure you double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. We're at 72 likes, so let's get about 30 more people to go ahead and double tap that screen and like the video. Well, 28 exactly. But double tap that screen.
Would that not be a win for the globe?
Yes, of course.
Yes, it would be.
But that would also,
so that's where we're trying to
be
go.
Clear, that would be the status quo prior to the war.
Prior to the war, Iran had control of the Strait of Hormuz. It was a different kind of.
I did notice
it was always under threat.
It was always under threat.
The status quo prior to the war was that there was free travel through the Strait.
Yeah, before the war, there's free travel through the Strait of Hormuz. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz composed of Iran and Omanian waters. So yes, the Strait of Hormuz is literally kind of split between Iran and Oman. That's kind of who owns the Strait of Hormuz. So, and Iran controls most of it, and they can shut down all of it because they're a greater military power than the entire Gulf region.
Strait of Hormuz,
except for Israel, of course. Because they got nukes.
But to your point, Iran could have utilized perhaps control over the Strait.
That's always the threat. But that's always the threat.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they didn't. So getting us back to where we were on February 28th, That would be sort of like the minimum baseline consequence of this conflict.
Not true at all.
All right, now let's get into BBC here.
President Trump has said the U.S. will not lift its blockade on Iranian ports until a deal has been reached with Tehran. It comes at the end of the 2-week ceasefire looms with no sign of an extension. Iran's chief negotiators also cast fresh doubt on a second round of peace talks, stating Tehran was prepared to show new cards on the battlefield. The US Vice President J.D. Vance, who's due to lead the American team in Pakistan, is said to be preparing to leave Washington soon. And a few hours ago, Donald Trump posted this on social media. Operation Midnight Hammer was a complete and total obliteration of the nuclear dust sites in Iran. Therefore, digging it out will be a long...
That is crazy. He wrote that today. Like, Operation Midnight Hammer was a complete and total obliteration of the nuclear dust sites in Iran. But here we are, pretty much fear-mongering about the same nuclear dust that, apparently, we obliterated, right? We obliterated it. So why are we over here fear-mongering about their nuclear capability or their enriched uranium if, we solved the problem? It was obliterated, guys. Remember that? Remember, June?
A difficult process. Our North America correspondent David Willis reports.
It's being reported here that the...
Hey, and shout out to my man Chad. He says, if we attack their civilian infrastructure, not only will our allies in the Middle East, hold on. He said, not only will our allies in the Middle East, but ours as well. I highly suspect our Iranian hackers are in our waters and energy systems. This is a risk to us. Honestly, bro, it is. It really is. Bro, if they literally start taking out like energy infrastructure in the Middle East, bro, I mean, that is cooked. We won't be able to add that oil back to the oil supply. Prices are going to continue to soar. And I'm gonna be real with you, we're going to see a lot of retraction of deals from the Middle East. Like those, the F-15s or I believe the F-47s that Qatar wanted to buy, that's going to be canceled. Like the trillions of dollars that these Gulf countries put into us, that's going to be withdrawn because why? Now they got to fix their country again. They're losing tourism, so that's cooked for them. I mean, where does that leave us at? Well, I'll tell you where that leaves us at. It leaves us in a very bad position. Why? Because I'll show it again. This comes from Yahoo Finance. Here it is, right here, guys. So the United Emirates apparently dropping a hint. The dollar's dominance isn't assured in the global oil trade if fallout from the Iran war gets worse. According to Wall Street Journal, the UAE central bank chief raised the idea of a currency swap. With Treasury Department and Federal Reserve officials during the meetings in Washington, D.C. last week. Let's keep on going here. To be sure, the UAE has plenty of money, including $270 billion in foreign exchange reserves and trillions of dollars across its sovereign wealth funds. But while the UAE isn't in a crisis, Iran has damaged its energy infrastructure and has blocked oil exports by closing off the Strait of Hormuz, weighing on the dollar's dominance. Weighing on the dollar-dominated revenue. If Iran war triggers a deeper economic downturn, a swap line with the U.S. would provide the UAE central bank with a cheap supply of dollars that could back the dirham. But guys, or which is pegged to the greenback, or beef up foreign exchange reserves in the event of liquidity runs low, the report says. UAE officials also pointed out that the U.S. started the Iran war and said that they may be forced to use Chinese yuan or other currencies for oil oil transactions if the availability of dollars get tight, sources told the Journal. So what does this tell you guys? That this is turning our partners away from us and they're starting to sideline with China more. Yeah. But people want to try to sell this to you like this is the best thing that ever happened. And it's not. It's not. But they'll sell it to you like that. Trust me. They're trying it right now. And some of you are kind of falling for it. But all right, though. Let's go ahead and get right back to it here. Wait, where was it at? And oh, yeah, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the videos. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, you can send in a super chat. I'll go ahead and read it out loud, just like I did for my man Chad. But all right, let's go ahead and get right back to it. Wait, is this the right one? Hold up.
Live in Washington with the very latest on negotiations with Iran as that ceasefire is set to expire imminently. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Carly and Todd. So diplomatic efforts are underway, but they're in doubt as to whether these peace talks will even take place today. So Iranian state media this morning saying that no delegation from Iran has visited Pakistan. And it comes after what we've seen in the last several days, Iran saying that they might not even show up. Still, right now, preparations are underway for these high-stakes new rounds of talks, which are set to take place. Security is tightening in Islamabad ahead of the arrival of all of these different delegates, and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to lead the American delegation.
I'm actually happy to hear that, because they were trying to say that JD was pretty much not going. Like, bro, they were trying to make it seem like JD was about to hop on the plane, and Trump just said, yeah, no, buddy, you're staying here. We're going to leave this to Witkoff and Kushner. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and F it up again.
Rooting against the country.
Who is it?
What's the
Senator
name of
Chris
Chris Murphy, the one Margaritaville with the illegal alien that was in that came to this country that got deported. Yeah. No. So it's like, why are you going against the country right now in the middle of a war?
Well, and you heard Pete Hegseth. He said this at every single press conference. He says, when you read some of these headlines from a lot of the media, the legacy media, whose side are you on? Because I'm under the impression you're under the side of Iran and not America.
No. We're on the side of campaign promises being kept. We're on the side of no new wars, no more Middle East intervention, because it never works out for us. And you're insane if you keep on thinking that it will, even though we have all the proof from the world that it don't. No, that's the side that we're on. It's not about being pro-Iranian. It's not about being pro-IRGC or nothing. If anything, that's just straw manning. You're not willing to address the argument. You trust me, you can't substantiate how this war is good for the American people. You can't substantiate the imminent threat of Iran. So all you can hit us with is, oh, what? Are you supporting Iran now? No, I'm giving you the facts, and you're not willing to deal with it. Instead, you'd rather sit here and doubt my loyalty. And I ain't gonna lie, I do be offended sometimes. I mean, like, how dare you? But it is what it is.
America, you're rooting for Iran.
I mean, no, really think about it. Like, how dare you doubt my loyalty when you're literally supporting a war that's hurting the American people? But my loyalty is being doubted? Oh, okay. All right, I didn't experience it. I didn't experience all the bullshit now at this point.
So Senator Chris Murphy everything he says is so against this president. It's really against the country. Every time Senator Schumer talks on the floor, talks about things that he thinks are going wrong with the war. He preferred the JCPOA, which he didn't vote for, and we have that soundbite. But Chris Murphy is probably the worst. Sees himself as a presidential candidate, but now cheering for Iranian propaganda, hoping it's true. And here it is. The original post. At least 26 Iranian shadow fleet vessels bypass U.S. blockade. Senator Chris Murphy retweets. Awesome.
Wow.
So that's the senator from Connecticut. Now, obviously,
hey, yo,
you shouldn't be rooting for this anyway, right?
I mean, you shouldn't. But then again, I can't judge. I cannot judge, guys. I'm guilty of doing the same. F it. I'll do it right now. Let's take a nice little comedic break, guys. Let's do it. We're playing an Iranian Lego video. Yep. We're playing into it. Since y'all want to be mad about it, I'm going to be a dick about it. Let's go.
Our inbox is flooded with Americans saying they don't watch the news. They listen to our songs instead, since your media is full of shit. Let's keep it 100 and talk reality. 5,000 years of Persian soul, of poetry and light. You sold nuclear threat to every camera in sight, but our leaders said nukes are haram on record clear. The real atomic arsenal, Tel Aviv, my dear. The IAEA in the building, they've been watching the file. Israel's undeclared warhead stacked up mile by mile. You weaponized the fear of Iran to fund the machine. While AIPAC lobbied Congress and pocketed your team. While soldiers bleed for Bibi's dream. Your son-in-law cashed $2 billion from the Saudi regime, Kushner. Your lobby chain is tight as choking out the globe, while your son is trading stocks inside his velvet robe. Baron. Wake up, America. Open your eyes to the devil's design. Epstein, pedophile ruler, sacrificing for Israel's line. Wake up, America. Open your eyes to the devil's design. The world's watching your move. Don't feed feed the swine. Epstein's Island, 40 plus flights on the log. You the main character, Jeffrey was just a prologue. You act like a savior, but you're leaving bodies cold. How many nations have you broken? How many lives have you sold? Vietnam, Japan, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Panama, Syria, Germany, Serbia, Indonesia,
Why are they
Cuba,
snapping?
Sudan, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Yemen. We're bringing you freedom, bro. They never asked for that. Retribution is coming where the storm you can't tame. Iran doesn't forget, and we're coming for the...
Like, we're losing the propaganda war to Iranians making Lego videos. I just want to let y'all know this. I just want to let y'all know that, guys. And I mean, how can we come back? Like, what are we going to say? What? We bombed the girls' school. We killed your daughters. Come at us, bro. Like, what? Well, what can we say that's going to be good?
Game. Spoiler alert. Israel's final war? It's against y'all. Take it seriously. Before it's too late. They're just using you for now. Want to see the real truth? Watch how they talk on Jesus. Don't say I didn't warn you. America.
All righty, though. Let's get right back to it. Sorry, I had to irritate some people for a little bit.
First, but number two,
I
is
most likely enjoyed it.
It's clearly Iranian propaganda as well. So he's cheering for it, and then the information is still even not even true. He gets briefed on this type of stuff. He could make a phone call to the White House or get briefed by the Pentagon about this information.
Hoping it's true.
Apparently, China's president did make a call with the Saudi crown prince. And this is what he said to him. The Strait of Hormuz should remain open to normal passage as this serves the common interests of regional countries and the international community.
No joke. Hey, President Xi, snap out of it. It is Iran who you finance, support, and arm up. And
yeah, dog. See, I know you want to snap on Xi, but Xi got a point though, sadly. And bro, we're giving Xi a good point, dog. When I gotta sit here and agree with Xi, you know we're in a bad spot right now. Like, that's the problem. Like, here's the thing: he got a point. The closing down of the Strait of Hormuz is hurting everybody. It's gonna F the entire global economy, including our economy as well, because we're part of that. As much as Trump want to try to convince the American people that, oh, you know, we don't need that oil in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, not really, but we do need it to be in the oil supply so we can get those low prices back. We can get back to what, $67 a barrel? Yes, that's what we need it for.
Buy their oil, 90% of it, that is shut down the strait. Why are you calling Saudi Arabia saying open up the strait? Also, they're the ones who got to redirect all the oil around the strait.
Also, why would the Saudis reopen it after Iran has been attacking them?
Right, but they can't. But they're not in control of that.
Why would they even try to help with this negotiation when China has been silent on Iran attacking the Gulf states when they didn't even do offensive measures?
The Gulf states should turn the screws on Iran and say, if you want to do business with us, stop on China. Stop doing business with Iran. These shouldn't be friendly calls.
Because they do business with China too. I just read you guys a news story from Yahoo News, which they were pretty much quoting the Wall Street Journal, on how the UAE is thinking about picking up more Chinese yuan. Bruh, you think they're going to go against China when they're looking at China as a second option? Man, bro, come on. That idea is cooked.
And China is the wild card here. If China says, I need oil from Iran, and now any Iranian ship cannot deliver oil, they're the ones who should turn around and say, Iran, open up the strait. That's the theory. And even though they have some oil in reserve, this is straining their economy.
Yeah, don't forget, this is just Iranian ports. This is not allowing their ships to allow them to transport oil to other countries. We're not allowing any of their ships or their vessels to go through the Strait of Hormuz if they came from one of their ports.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, that's cool and all, but now Iran's not letting any ships through. So now not only aren't Iran ships getting through, but nobody's ships getting through. And all we got was 14 ships through. And then you guys wanted to hardball. Well, Trump wanted to hardball Iran on a naval blockade, not releasing it so Iran ships can get through too. And then Iran just decided to shut it down for everybody. And the problem is, this is what this shows. We keep trying to, I guess, treat Iran as if they have no cards. And then they show to the world that they do have cards, and it end up making us look stupid. Let's be real. We put a naval blockade. We sounding all tough. Oh, we're not letting Iran ships through. Then what do? They close the Strait of Hormuz, and now nobody's getting through. We're back to square one. And now it's just a blockade on top of a blockade. Like, what is this?
It's open to everybody else.
Yep. Robert Levinson's son joined me earlier. Now, Robert Levinson, if you don't remember, is a CIA agent that was picked up on Kish Island 20 years ago. And they've been trying to find out what happened to him. And they've been going multiple times to Iran. And these people are evil personified. They take hostages. They torture the hostages. They ask for ransom back. People like President Biden actually give them money for people. But Levinson, there's so much mystery wrapped around it. So I asked him how he feels about this. And he also said what makes it doubly hard is Iran's ambassador to Pakistan is the one who kidnapped his father. And he's got a diplomatic position, prestigious in that world in Pakistan.
Be like that.
And he's negotiating on this peace deal with us. Watch.
There's only a few people in the world who know exactly what happened to my dad, who were involved in what happened to my dad. The FBI identified 5 of them. One of them was killed in the initial airstrikes at the start of this conflict, and another one is hiding in plain sight. He's right out there. He was at these talks, helping coordinate things, and it's a slap in the face to our family, slap in the face to the United States of America, because I don't know what the heck.
Yeah, but where was all that talk when you guys, let that, ex-Al-Qaeda, let that guy into the White House? He was playing basketball with the soldiers. I mean, yeah, where was all that energy then when, we pretty much put Al-Qaeda, the guys that pretty much set off 9/11, killed a whole lot of American soldiers. Yeah, we put them in charge of Syria. Where was this outrage? I'm sorry, but can we please keep the same energy? Because I was tripping over that. I was tripping over it a little bit, but I was like, all right, I guess if it's about peace in the Middle East and we got to play cool with, our enemies now, I mean, I can get down with that. But I'm sorry, but we just can't sit here and trip about this, not also trip about that as well. Like, we literally let a leader of Al-Qaeda take over Syria. Then we let bro into the White House, and now he's shooting hoops with the soldiers. I mean, do we not remember that?
He's doing over there,
I'm just saying.
and that Pakistanis allowed this. It hurts their credibility as an independent intermediary between the two countries, because they're allowing this man to take part in all of this.
Right. And sadly, when the last administration, the Trump people looked into it, and they looks like Robert O'Brien was actually the one. It's like they have evidence that he did not survive. Robert Levinson.
That is so tough. Where is the justice in that situation? And same with your last interview when you were interviewing Hirsch's parents, his mom.
It's torture.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Torture.
At the same time, the European leaders go, we got to get these Palestinians a state. They did such a great job in Gaza, taking the money from you idiots, and they built tunnels, terror tunnels.
Well, do you understand why they build terror tunnels? Because Israel's been constantly bombing Gaza, forever now. Before October 7th, they shoot protesters who protest against the occupation in the West Bank and in Gaza. Shoot those guys. They're known to mow down the grass. I mean, here's the problem, bro. These Fox News pundits don't know a damn thing that goes down in the Middle East. Not a damn thing. All they see is that, group of people attack Israel. Okay, yeah. Yep. They're just a bunch of terrorists. They have no cause. All they do is just hate America and Jews. No. It's a little deeper than that. Like, if you actually understood the plight of Hamas, which I don't agree with what they do at all. But when you understand why they were created and under what circumstances they were created under, you understand that, Israel created Hamas. They were funding Hamas so the Palestinians can never have a stable government. And this is why we deal with them today. And then the reason why they built all these goddamn tunnels is because Israel's known for recklessly bombing Gaza. Oh, it all makes sense now. Makes sense.
They've stored.
Not supporting anything that Hamas did, but sometimes you do got to understand why terrorist organizations formed in the first place to understand how to stop terrorism. And I mean, if you actually care about stopping terrorism, or you could just eradicate an entire group of people. I mean, a bit genocidal, but that's always an option.
Armaments under schools and hospitals. So Europe says, I really feel for those terrorists who do things like that, kidnap people from a concert.
Gosh, well, there is a scripture in the Bible, justice is mine, saith the Lord. And right after that, it says, and I will repay. Justice will be done at some point, face to face with your maker one day.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
I don't know if you want to pop that line, man. Shoot, then what they about to say to us when God want to talk to us about, so that little girl's school. Yeah, innocent little girls you guys bombed. I mean, Oh, you got anything to say about that? Like, I don't know. Hopefully you want to stay consistent on that belief. But all right, though. Let's get back to it. This is why the Pope was trying to say, Jesus don't stand with those who wield the sword. I mean, because atrocities like that happen on both sides. On both sides. Oh, man. But all right, guys, let's get right into it. Let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. We're at 100 likes, so let's see if we can get to 200 likes by double tapping that screen. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just $2 and up. Appreciate the support, guys.
Let's go to Alex Hogan, who is live in Washington with the very latest on negotiations with Iran as that ceasefire is set to expire imminently. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Carly and Todd. So diplomatic efforts are underway, but they're in doubt as to whether these peace talks will even take place today. So Iranian state media this morning.
Oh, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting the icon above and subscribe to the channel, and also double tap that screen and like the video. Oh, and if you if you just want to support the show, you can just send in a gift.
Morning saying that no delegation from Iran has visited Pakistan, and it comes after what we've seen in the last several days, Iran saying that they might not even show up. Still, right now, preparations are underway for these high-stakes new rounds of talks, which are set to take place. Security is tightening in Islamabad ahead of the arrival of all of these different delegates, and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to lead the American delegation. Last time, Parliamentary Speaker...
You know what? Like, knock on wood. But I pray to God Israel don't just try to, bomb Pakistan. Just bomb Pakistan, trying to kill all the peace, the negotiators. I can see them doing that, sadly. But, I mean, hey, they did it in Qatar, so who said they won't do it in Pakistan? Well, I don't know. Pakistan do got nukes, so they might refrain from it.
Mohammed Baghdad Khalibaf led the Iranian side, but now he's posted this on X, writing, Trump, by imposing a siege and violating the ceasefire, seeks to turn this negotiating table into his own imagination, into a table of surrender or to justify renewed warmongering. We do not accept negotiations under the shadow of threats. And in the past 2 weeks, we have prepared to reveal new cards on the battlefield. It has been a standstill in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces continue to monitor their blockade.
I'm gonna be real with you. A lot of people didn't even know Iran had the little speedboats out there, the little kamikaze speedboats. A lot of people had to catch on that Iran was actually mining the Strait of Hormuz, and we also had to catch on that Iran has these little miniature submarines that fire missiles in the strait as well. So trust me, we're finding more and more about Iran's arsenal that we didn't know before. I mean, we didn't even know these guys had cluster missiles until they fired it off at Israel. So this is actually pretty alarming. Oh yeah, we didn't even know they had a missile that can go out 2,000 miles. We didn't know that. Now we do. I mean, here's the thing. It actually shows that, Iran actually does have restraint, because apparently they could have did this to the Strait of Hormuz a while ago. They had the power to close the strait, didn't until this war popped off. They could have been striking Europe as we've been fear-mongering for, years at this point, but they didn't. And we just discovered that they can go out 2,000 miles. So it is kind of funny how they're trying to sell Iran as this boogeyman who just can't wait to get a nuke or a missile to shoot at us, but they have the missile capability and they have not done so.
In the critical waterway, U.S. Central Command releasing these new photos. And President Donald Trump, in a Bloomberg interview, underscored this looming expiration date of the current ceasefire, timestamping it as Wednesday evening Eastern time. So that could give a little more time for negotiations. The president also called it highly unlikely that he would extend the temporary deal if a new agreement is not reached. So even if there is a new ceasefire that is reached this week, Carly and Todd, that raises more questions. How would it be enforced? And again, would it hold? Carly, Todd.
A whole lot of questions on the table this morning. Alex Hogan live for us in Washington. Alex, thank you.
Thanks.
Let's bring in retired.
But all right, guys, let's get over here to Alex Jones. To be fair, I like to be fair. We're going to play a little Trump glaze. This is low-key funny. That's why.
Assalamu alaikum, bitches. This is your new Ayatollah speaking. Well, if you think about it, I'm more like your new I told you. Because I told you this would happen if you kept fucking around instead of taking JD's deal. My first order of business as your new I told you will be to take over the Strait of Hormuz and to bring back bikinis to Iran. We're going to have big, beautiful beach parties all along the coast with delicious margaritas and sexy mamacitas. Anyway, we're the captains now, bitches. America is back, bigger, stronger, and hotter than ever before. Believe me.
So yeah, shout out to Ayatollah Trump or Donald Trump. But all right, though, let's get into our guy over here, Alex Jones. Funny though, isn't it?
Naftali Bennett, longtime Israeli politician, leader, Naftali Bennett, explaining Israel's next step. Here's where they're going next. Watch.
A new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran.
Bruh.
Erdogan is sophisticated, dangerous, and he seeks to encircle Israel.
Yep, and the next thing you know, they're going to start saying he killed 50,000 of his own people in a protest, right? Trust me. Coming up next on Lies from the Deep State, 50,000 protesters killed in Turkey. Like, oh, boy. Oh, shoot, shout out to my man Noah Joyner. Appreciate the support. He says, I'm hoping Iran asks Bibi to be tried for war crimes to reach a ceasefire. I'm gonna keep preaching it. We need to start acting like one species. Now, honestly, man, shout out to my man Noah. That would be beautiful. Like, you know what, bro? Like, we'll give you the uranium. Just try BB on war crimes and make sure he goes. No, just try him. Like, that's all. BB in jail, bro. We'll give you the uranium, bro. No, you don't even gotta lift the sanctions. Just put BB in jail. That'd be beautiful for Iran acts for that, because I'll be like, no, I'm all for it. No, let's do it. And anybody who objects against it is un-American, right? That's how I'm playing it.
We can't close our eyes again.
He's sophisticated and dangerous. It's hardly an endorsement of Erdogan, the Turkish leader, hardly an endorsement of him to say when Bennett says he's dangerous, what he really means is he's sovereign. We can't tell him what to do. We don't fully control him. We can influence him, and it's clear that Israel and Turkey,
a Muslim country with sovereignty. How dare those Islamist extremists have a country that they can sit there and pray to Allah and shit? And nope, we got to bomb it. We got to stabilize it. We got to throw it into turmoil to the point where they got slavery again. Sudan. Sorry.
he did have some kind of relationship in the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad in Syria last year, just a guess. But the real problem with Turkey is that it can't be controlled. So it is therefore a threat to Israel. And again, not attacking Israel. That's true. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant. So that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean,
I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places that are now countries.
But this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zion.
And if you don't know what Greater Israel is, I got this nice little map of it right here. Whoops, a daisy. But all right, let me go ahead and show y'all real quick, because yeah, this is wild. This is Greater Israel. So what Israel wants to do, and I mean what they've actually been doing for a while now, is they want to see all this blue right here. Yeah, this is what Greater Israel, this is what they want to do here. They want to pretty much take a big old chunk of Egypt. They want to take all of Lebanon. This is why they're trying to annex southern Lebanon as we speak. They want to take Syria. They want to take all of Jordan, a decent chunk of Saudi Arabia. They wanted to cut off parts of Iraq. And you kind of notice how a lot of these countries we destabilize, so they're kind of like ripe for the picking. But yeah, this is Greater Israel. This is what they want to do, and this is what they're committed to, and this is what Mike Huckabee said. It'd be fine if they took it all. I know, right? Wild.
Zionism. I want to go back.
Oh, And make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen.
Through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Israel is not just controlling our foreign policy. They're trying to get full control of the media, even more control of domestic policy to ensure on their flank their takeover of the Middle East and to make sure we join them in this. So this is the new world war being set up. We were supposed to pivot to deal with China. Nope, sorry. Israel says China can do whatever it wants. You work for us. It's a big deal. It's like you're tied down on the railroad tracks and here comes the big train towards you.
I mean, it was like we're literally giving over influence in the Middle East to China and Russia. I mean, that's the worst thing we want to do. But we're steady walking ourselves into that reality.
We need to get off these tracks. So that's why I played those 2 clips, because I just wanted to back up what I was saying and show you the actual individuals admitting it. And if you talk about it, well, you're just anti-Jewish. What? Tucker is absolutely right. This is how big empires operate, and Israel is acting like an empire because it controls, to a great extent, the United States. Majority of Israelis want a show. They've got polls in Israel. The majority of Israelis want a greater Israel. They want half of Lebanon. They want large pieces of the rest of the Middle East.
Half? Nah, they want all of Lebanon. They don't want half. They want all of it. They're just slow rolling it right now.
And if they think they can go take it, well, then, that's up to them. But we should not pay for it, and we shouldn't die for it. And so Tucker Carlson recently came out and said that Turkey and Lebanon are next. That's because not just Netanyahu's party, but the other major parties, the other 2 conservative parties, they make up the majority together, they're openly giving speeches. I played them a few weeks ago here, saying yes. They're even trying to start selling advanced real estate speculative contracts on, once it's taken over, who will get first dibs on it. And so they're carpet bombing Christians in Lebanon, 30,000+ homes destroyed.
Yep.
And
I mean, Christian villages completely wiped off the face of the map, like literally wiped off the face of the map. It's absolutely atrocious. And there's other things going on too. What was it? There was this outrage of an Israeli soldier breaking the face of a Jesus statue. He received, what was that, like 30 days or something like that? I know he received a punishment, and Bibi Netanyahu condemned it. He better condemn it. But yeah, actually, let me go ahead and show you what people are tripping about right now. This right here.
16/12/2025 آخر السنة.
They pretty much broke the Jesus statue.
هذا كسرين الصليب هلا لميناه حطيناه على جنب. منطقة الدورة حد مستشفى مريض.
And then there's this viral photo right here. Like, yeah. And like I said, this guy's been condemned. He's been condemned. He's been charged. I believe he's supposed to get 20 days. Yeah, 20 days in jail or something like that. Nothing crazy, but at least he was punished, right? Right. If that's enough for you. Now, for me personally, I would like him to be off the IDF completely, in jail, because I'll be real with you, kind of decimated an entire village, but it's, that's just me. That's just me, guys. Let me see here if I could also find this, the complete wiping out of this village over here. All right, F it, I'll go back to the video. If I find it, I'll bring it back up.
Tune into the Christian, Zionist channels that are the dominant channels on cable. There's not a damn word about this, except Huckabee got asked about it a month ago by Tucker. saying, so according to your interpretation of Genesis, Israel can have the whole Middle East. And he said, yes, just take it all. You want to see the clip again? Okay. So you go take it all then.
Bruv.
And that, and I've seen Netanyahu's deputy and the leaders of the other parties say on Fox News, Turkey is the new enemy after we take down Iran. Well, it's got the biggest conventional military in NATO. And they just worked with Turkey, Israel did a year and a half ago, right before Trump got in, to take down Assad and put Al-Qaeda in.
Yep.
So it's just, it's a disgusting mess. It's a black hole. It's totally insane. And Trump just put on a new Truth Social saying Israel did not.
Which is hilarious because, no, that's true. It's like Israel and Turkey was working together in Israel to remove the Assad regime, which they were successful in. Now Israel is turning their gun on Turkey, pretty much calling them the new Iran.
Tell him to go to war in Iran. Well, Netanyahu comes to Congress like 6-7 times a year and says that. He's pressured all the previous presidents he's been in power for 25 years to do it. And they gave Trump the fake intelligence, and that's admitted from the Pentagon and the Israelis. So Trump says this, it's pure crap. Israel never talked to me into the war with Iran, never talked me into the war with Iran. The results of October 7th added to my lifelong opinion that Iran could never have a nuclear weapon, did. I watch and read the fake news pundits and polls and total disbelief. 90% of what they say are lies and made up stories. Yeah, usually are. Usually you were telling the truth before. And the polls are rigged. No, not Rasmussen and others, not your internal ones. And the polls are rigged. I mean, they had Mark Mitchell after he was on the show months ago. They summoned him there to meet with the president. He warned him. And the polls are rigged. Much of the 2020 election was rigged. Just like the results of the Venezuela, which the media doesn't like talking about. The results in Iran will be amazing. And if Iran's new leaders, regime change, are smart, Iran can have a great and prosperous future. Wait a minute. Trump said dozens of times the last month. Well, he said it a few days in, so how many days is that? 50-something days. That we've achieved regime change. That's not, the strait is open. No, it's not. I mean, I'm sorry. I just cannot sit here and be part of this. And notice before Israel invaded Lebanon a month ago, put it back on screen, Huckabee gave him permission. Did Mike Huckabee just greenlight Israel to invade half of the Levant? February 26th. I mean, we are being sleptwalked into this war. And what Trump does is change the story 4 or 5 times a day. It's not a war. We already won. The strait's open. Better open, I'll blow you up. I'll end your civilization. He did it again over the weekend. And he's just trying to confuse people. I don't think he's that senile. I think he's demented. I think it's deranged. Because in the past, the media would call Trump a liar. I'd go, look at the policy. It was almost always true. It was easy to back him. And I was getting persecuted for backing him, so he must be good. Here's Tucker Carlson in a breakdown of what's next. Everything he's saying is true because Israel says it. This is the plan.
You know, there's a difference. Like back when I was on MAGA's side, like everything Trump was doing, you can point to results of his plan and be like, yo, no, the plan is working. Of course, Dems are a bit impatient, but it is what it is. The plans are working. I mean, gas prices were going down. Inflation was going down. The job market was seeing, well, some positive growth in certain sectors. We had a couple bad months, but let's be real. It wasn't like a net negative. And now we're seeing the exact opposite of all of that due to the Iran war that he promised that he would never get us into. So you got to understand, we're not just coming at Trump for no reason. We're coming at Trump for broken campaign promises that you guys want to gaslight us on, sadly. Y'all want to go ahead and show us interviews from the 1980s going like, look, see, he always wanted to bomb Iran. Bro, what about in 2016 when he said, let's not do that. Let's not get into the Middle East. Let's go with what he currently was saying. Like I said, it's the complete gaslighting of, well, the guys who are pretty much turning away from MAGA.
Dragging us into every single conflict and paying for it. Here it is.
This is a longtime Israeli politician, leader, Naftali Bennett, explaining Israel's next step. Here's where they're going next. Watch.
a new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran. Erdogan is sophisticated, dangerous, and he seeks to encircle Israel. We can't close our eyes again.
He's sophisticated and dangerous. It's hardly an endorsement of Erdogan, the Turkish leader, hardly an endorsement of him to say when Bennett says he's dangerous, what he really means is he's sovereign. We can't tell him what to do. We don't fully control him. We can influence him, and it's clear that Israel and Turkey did have some kind of relationship in the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad in Syria last year, just a guess. But the real problem with Turkey is that it can't be controlled. So it is therefore a threat to Israel. And again, not attacking Israel. That's true. That is true. In the same sense that when we have hostile leaders in big countries in our hemisphere, it really bothers us. And sometimes we kill them, regime change them. And we make up this whole, no, it's really important. The people of country X need to be free. But really, we need to be unconstrained because we're a great power. That's what it is. It's important to say this, not to allege some sort of dark conspiracy by the Israelis, but to explain that it's not unusual at all. It's the most usual thing in the world. What's unusual is to live in a country that is so controlled, whose media environment is so precisely constructed to keep you from knowing anything that matters, from seeing the most obvious things, and that it has been constructed, not a conspiracy theory, over the course of many, many years to keep you from not knowing. Barry Weiss may run CNN. Whoever thought that would happen? Okay, now, but the point of these moves is to, in the media, is to control the way things are described so you can't see things clearly, and to muddy the conversation with anti-Semitism, the Nazis. No, this is classic great power competition, and we just can't see it because we have been so thoroughly propagandized, we think that this is some sort of like effort to liberate somebody. It's not. But then the question becomes like, what is our role in this? So now that we know, and by the way, it's perilous that we know. And one of the reasons I almost didn't do this, not that I'm like saying anything that isn't obvious, it's all very obvious, but to say it out loud does not make things more stable. In other words, once you have a war going on and everybody knows that it's not being waged on behalf of the people who are dying in it or the families they leave behind, then, things can...
Because what did they tell you about this war? I mean, let's be real. They said, we must make sure Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. Well, Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon now. It doesn't have a nuclear weapons program. And all we got is this 60% enrichment from 2021. So if this was about Iran not having a nuclear weapon, I mean, shoot, the Ayatollah nipped that in the butt for us in 2004 with the religious fatwa. And honestly, Barack Obama nipped that in the butt for us in 2015 with the JCPOA. So what nuke does Iran have? Like, we don't even have proof that they was even progressing towards 90%. Yet we're talking about, we must make sure Iran doesn't have a nuke. Shoot, Iran's making sure themselves that they don't got a nuke. And now we don't even know that for sure because we blew up the guy who was enforcing that religious law.
Things don't get more stable. So, and no one wants to add to the present instability. But I just think it's important to know the truth and to know what our leaders have planned because, as you already know, they lie.
Oh, guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just super chat it in, or you can also send it in a Venmo. Probably the Venmo is $1 and up, super chats $2 and up. You already know how that goes. Appreciate the support, but if not, let's make sure we are double tapping that screen and liking the video because it's free.
And they have no scruples at all. Thanks for watching. You can go to tuckercarlson.com for our entire library of everything. It says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant. So that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean,
I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places.
I'm sorry, but can any of y'all even super chat that in and substantiate how Tucker is, compromised to the dark side? Because nobody's been able to substantiate that. Y'all kind of just say it, and I guess is it supposed to land? Like, I don't know. I feel like y'all falling for the propaganda. Pretty much anybody who's against this war has been pretty much attacked. And I mean, the problem is, what's wrong with Tucker again? Can anybody like really explain that? No, you can't. All you could just say is he's compromised. Set, like, all right, by who? I don't know, Set. Like the Qataris, where's your proof? I don't have it, Set. But you just got to understand, Laura Loomer said so on Twitter, so he got to be compromised, Set. I'm like, oh, really? Laura Loomer? That's your source, bro? All right.
That are now,
and I know that's not all of your source. I'm pretty sure some of y'all have your own independent thought of why you think Tucker's compromised. But please, super chat it in, Venmo it in. Let me know, because I really don't feel like you guys can substantiate that.
Countries that this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
So Israel is not just controlling our foreign policy, they're trying to get full control of the media, even more control of domestic policy to ensure on their flank their takeover of the Middle East and to make sure we join them in this. So this is the new world war being set up. We were supposed to pivot to deal with China. Nope, sorry. Israel says China can do whatever it wants. You work for us. It's a big deal. It's like you're tied down on the railroad tracks and here comes the big train towards you. We need to get off these tracks. So that's why I played those 2 clips, because I just wanted to back up what I was saying and show you the actual individuals admitting it. And if you talk about it, well, you're just anti-Jewish. What? Tucker is absolutely right. This is how big empires operate, and Israel is acting like an empire because it controls, to a great extent, the United States. And Trump did not let Netanyahu run us in the first administration. And that was a good thing. And he followed through on not having a bunch of wars. So I trusted him because in the past he did such a great job, comparatively.
Yeah.
Now that's not the case.
Okay.
And I could spend the rest of the hour just reading the.
Okay, it's in support of pretty much the Muslim community that you guys are mad about. Oh, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with trying to unite like Christians and Muslims at all. I know a lot of people think like Islam is the stain upon humanity, and I disagree with that. But no, that's actually a good thing. But what was it? People say, "Oh, it's house in Doha." Well, one, Qatar, yes, Qatar, Doha. I mean, Doha, Qatar. That they are allies, by the way, and they do invest trillions of dollars into our AI and weapons companies. So I mean, they're an ally. I mean, people have houses in Israel, and y'all don't complain about that. I mean, they have houses, bro. People are dual citizens and have houses in all other countries, but you never doubt their loyalty. Oh, you only doubt their loyalty as long as they agree with you. Okay, I get what it is now. I get it. Okay. So nah, I don't really see anything wrong with that. And saying Sharia law, well, here's the thing. A lot of Muslim scholars have definitely brought mathematics, poetry, and a lot of good things to humanity. That's not a lie. No, it's not. You can actually look this up, bro. We got that we got algebra. We got algebra from the Arabs, from the Muslim guys. So I'm sorry, but as much as y'all want to sit there and act like they haven't given anything to the world, they have, just like every culture has. Hey, man, we all put in on this thing we call humanity.
This Wall Street Journal article, and you're like, oh, I heard all that from you. Yeah. I don't just know this is an accurate article because I trust the Wall Street Journal. No, it's because I know and have gotten very similar information from people that are there. And the majority of people there are freaked out because just from a political perspective, they know they're going to be out of power. And a lot of them are actually moral and think this is wrong. But Israel is going for it all right now through our government.
Oh, and also, well, Muslim countries got like lower crimes than, bro, European countries, bro. There's Muslim countries got lower crime than American cities. Like, you guys got to understand where he's coming from with that argument. I think it's a very low IQ to sit there and take it from he's saying the Muslim extremists have a better society. No. You pretty much stand out the fact that you could go in a lot of these Muslim countries and you could leave like a $10,000 on the hood of a car and it's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be there the next day because they truly don't believe in stealing. There's barely any crime committed in Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia. I'm just saying, like, that's just the facts right there. You may not want to reconcile with that, but it is what it is.
But then we also have another clip. Yeah, let's play that in a moment. Of Trump saying we struck Iran to defend Israel. So he's saying Israel has nothing to do with it, but we did it for Israel. You have the head of the ADL a few weeks ago saying, if you say this war was for Israel, you're anti-Semitic. We want to come after you and silence you and use the same energy we used on Hamas with exploding pagers. That's a quote. It's a threat. I can't believe he said that. Jonathan Greenblatt. It's just wild. It's just crazy.
And that, my friend, is a very fair statement. Now, that's fair. Now, they do have wild-ass penalties. Your hands get chopped off for stealing. So, think about it. Is anything, like, worth stealing that's going to be, like, worth your hands? Exactly. I don't know. Maybe we need
and then Congressman Massey.
I'm joking.
And other individuals got within one vote of repealing Trump's war powers, which he's operating without, or invoking the war powers over Trump, which Congress is supposed to have control of the power of the purse and to declare a full war. This is a full war. And I noticed all over the place over the weekend, oh, they're traitors, arrest them. They're trying to have a coup over Trump's military power. No, it's in the Constitution. Yeah, the Russians shot missiles at us. Trump he has the authority to defend against them. Things like that. But he doesn't have the power to take us into a full war. Remember, he ran against that as well. Yeah, so here's President Trump on going to war to protect Israel. Here it is.
This is very important, and we're doing very well on.
Hey, and shout out to my man Noah, because I completely agree with this. He's like, we are to judge people based off their actions. Disagree with people all you want, but be respectful about it. There's no difference between us other than culture All right. All right. My bad, guys. I don't know what in God's name just happened there. Don't know, but I'm back. I got you guys. Hold up here. I know, right? I don't know what happened right there. Phone just started tripping. Well, not my phone, but I guess I don't know what happened. I guess the connection was tripping for a little bit, but we are at very good connection. So we should be good, guys. We should be good. Let's go ahead and run it back. And all right. Now let's go ahead and make sure I read my man Noah Joyner's super chat real quick. He said we are to judge people based off their actions. Disagree with people all you want, but be respectful about it. There's no difference between us other than culture and ancestry. Yeah, and and here's the thing though. People like to think that I don't know. We have this. I kind of like it though. We have this American supremacist view of like, oh, we're just the masters of the universe. We just did all this great stuff. Like everything is centered around us and so are all technological advancements. And I'm like, not really. Like, not really. Like, guys, trust me, the Arabs put in on this, Africans put in on this, white people put in on this. Like everything humanity is pretty much comprised of, well, all humans around the world. That's just how it is. And trying to just put it off on all one group, a bit of supremacist attitude that I sometimes like, but it can kind of get in the way of trying to teach y'all a lesson about, I don't know, respecting other cultures.
Shot missiles at us. Trump he has the authority to defend against them. Things like that. But he doesn't have the power to take us into a full war. Remember, he ran against that as well. Yeah. So here's President Trump on going to war to protect Israel. Here it is.
This is very important, and we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And that was a tremendous threat to us for many years. 47 years they've been killing our people and killing people from all over the world. And I think we have great support. And I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible. And if we didn't terminate the worst deal, one of the worst deals ever made, the Obama nuclear deal, I call it the Obama nuclear deal, where he gave everything to Iran, including a nuclear weapon. It was a road to a nuclear weapon. Bad things would have happened 4 years ago because they would have had a weapon 4 years ago if I didn't terminate that deal.
And Israel did strike first when Trump decided to put it off again. That's declassified. That's public.
Yep.
They did drag us into it. But now he's put Truth Social out saying that's not the case because it's embarrassing to him that he's not in charge. Just like when he said, Israel, do not attack Lebanon anymore. And they keep attacking. In fact, they intensified the attacks. That's a fact.
The bad guys all over the world, the EU, NATO, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Democrat Party, they all recognize.
But all right, though, let's go ahead and get right back into the news cycle.
Meanwhile, some serious news. Vice President J.D. Vance is reportedly set to hit to Pakistan today for new rounds of peace talks with Iran.
President Trump says if there's no deal, he's unlikely to extend the ceasefire, which expires tomorrow.
All right, Matt Finn is live in Islamabad ahead of those high-stake negotiations. Matt.
Ryan, the U.S. delegation led by the vice president has not publicly confirmed its anticipated travel here to Pakistan. This is really an hour-by-hour situation. The United States seems to be all systems go, but state media associated with the Iranian regime has been reporting that Iran has not confirmed that it's sending a delegation here to Islamabad. Now, Iran's reluctance to publicly confirm the second round of peace talks may be Iran posturing or doing PR. So far, the U.S. has seemingly not pulled the plug. Iranian state media claims one sticking point is the U.S. blockade. State media has said as long as that blockade remains on the Strait of Hormuz, Iran may not negotiate. But the president has said the blockade will remain in place on the strait. And the president is also warning about the future of the 2-week ceasefire, which was broken anyway and is set to expire tomorrow. Now, we did an interview with the head of the European Ship Owners Association, which says it represents about 1/3 of the world's ships. Right now, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and Iran is asking to inspect ships carrying billions of dollars in cargo and is demanding fees.
It is unacceptable that seafarers, that the lives of seafarers and the safety of the seafarers are put at risk. Seafarers that are just doing their job, especially international straits such as the Strait of Hormuz. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea must apply, in particular the principle of free transit passage.
And one of the latest updates from the president of Iran's republic, he says that Iranians do not submit to force, referring to the United States. We will keep you updated on these critical second round of peace talks here in Islamabad. Back to New York.
All right, we'll see. All eyes in Islamabad. Thanks so much, Matt.
The first three didn't submit to negotiations either, Brian, and they're no longer with us.
Right. And a lot of the IRGC leadership has been killed. Yeah. Certainly, they've lost 40 people in the initial strike, including the Grand Ayatollah. But throughout the ISW, the Institute for Study of War, has a story that The Economist kind of brought up in the first round of talks. I guess they had about 70 people there, but they couldn't agree. They were fighting with each other. And it was the Pakistanis that were, guys, settle down, come up with one message. We sent 3 people. Yeah. They have a lot of different people because we killed a lot of them, eliminated them. But now, Ainsley, it's a battle between General Ahmed Fakidi, he's from the IRGC, and Mahmoud Bakhtir Ghalibaf. Now, Ghalibaf is a childhood friend of Soleimani, but he decided to go the political route. Soleimani went the military route.
Oh, shit.
And initially, he seemed to have the political route.
I told you. We got hardliners now, but we got Qasem Soleimani's homie, General Qasem Soleimani, the one that was pretty much organizing the axis of resistance. Like, pretty much all running through him, all operations ran through this guy, his homie. Yep, and that's what I mean by we took out all the moderates, and now we got the hardliners. I mean, we got Qasem Soleimani's homie, one of the day ones, as one of these negotiators. It's like, this is not good. And of Lord, you already know he's running the IRGC as well, so that's also not good.
But the IRGC has the guns, and they seem to be having the harder stance. We don't know who's going to emerge from this.
They say that this internal split. It's about relations with the U.S., obviously. It's also about their economic policy and management of the Strait of Hormuz. So it's a difference between the diplomatic wing, which is the one Brian's talking about, Ghalibaf, which is, yes, and that's Iran's parliamentary speaker. And he has been meeting with Witkoff and with Jared Kushner. So now it looks like maybe the IRGC is stepping up and saying, because we're not happy with the direction of these talks, then maybe we need to put Vahidi in place, or maybe this is coming from the Supreme Leader, because apparently, according to this, he's the only official that has direct access to the Supreme Leader.
So the Institute of Study of War, our friend Jack King, puts it this way. The Iranian parliament speaker, Mohammad Ghalibaf, appears to be engaged in a serious intra-regime debate with the IRGC commander, Major General Ahmad Vahidi, and other senior regime officials opposed to negotiations with the United States. Vahidi appears to have the upper hand over Ghalibaf at this moment. Vahidi is reportedly the only Iranian official with direct access to the Supreme Leader. It is serving as a conduit for relaying key decisions to the other regime officials, according to Israeli media on April 19th. So it's kind of hard to get a deal done. I mean, I always thought that a deal was a long shot because of an ideology that they have there. They don't want a deal. They want to kill Jews and they want to kill Americans. That's just their state. And now the Gulf states now, because they feel like they're...
I mean, we had them in a deal in 2015. They was willing to give up their nuclear enrichment, according to Omani foreign minister negotiations. And then, bro, even before the 12-day war, they were willing to get back into their monitoring of their enrichment program. Excuse me, but for some reason, we keep moving the goalposts. We move the goalposts to their ballistic missiles and their proxies, and we all knew that Iran was not going to agree to that. So we have not been negotiating in good faith, and every time we negotiate with them, well, we bomb them. So I'm sorry, but I mean, they have every right to kind of be a little bit sus of us. Every right. Because I always just say these duplicitous, these duplicitous negotiation tactics are going to bite us in the ass one day. And here it is.
Sellouts to the religion. So it's kind of hard to get a deal done when you can't even get the Iranians on the same page here. And the people that have the most leverage when it comes to the Iranians are the people with the guns, as you point out to.
Yeah, you got to open up the strait. And the Iranian parliament is now attempting to formalize Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz by drafting a bill that would ban Israel-linked vessels, and I'm sure ours as well. They can't do that.
We're not going to agree with that.
We'll never agree with that. The world's not going to agree with that. But if they feel they're still going to hold on to that and drag out negotiations, we'll be back in battle.
But they're just posturing right now.
I don't know about that, man. It does seem like the public opinion of Israel, or the global opinion of Israel, is low-key sinking. Like, Spain is supposed to be going to the UN to convince all other countries to denounce Israel and stop working with them. So I don't know. That actually might be a reality there. People are starting to walk away from Israel, especially the younger group in the United States. Like, they don't like Israel. They want to get away from Israel as well, because Israel keeps dragging us into conflicts in the Middle East. And they also, well, make problems worse in the Middle East by, I mean, attacking their neighbors, trying to take their neighbors' land, and I don't know, subjugating the Palestinians, all that wild stuff. Oh, and then quite recently annexing the West Bank. Oh, actually, no, it's more recent than that, making a law to where they want to hang Palestinians for terrorist actions. And here's the thing. I'm okay with hanging people for terrorist actions, even though it's a bit brutal. But when you make it about their race, that's what's effed up about it.
Now, this vote would mean nothing. America has control of the strait right now. I mean, it's just pretty much, we decide who goes in and who goes out. So this vote wouldn't really mean anything.
It's like we've been saying, it's the easy way or the hard way. In the end, the outcome is going to be the same. No nuclear weapons, and open up that body of water right there, the Strait of Hormuz. And if they don't do that, the president said, no more extensions for the ceasefire. I don't think we'll do that. He says, I'll just start blowing up bridges and power plants. He doesn't want to do that because he wants peace. And he doesn't want to interrupt the people there that are the innocent civilians. But he might not have a choice.
Yeah, this guy Bahidi is as evil as it gets.
Oh, but I thought it was about the Iranian people, freeing the Iranians. Now we want to end their entire civilization, put them in the dark, kind of leave them stranded because they won't be able to go to the next city because we destroyed all of their bridges. I mean, man, that's quite the turnaround right there. Went from wanting to save the Iranians and helping their civilization prosper to wanting to end it. Wild. We lost the plot, guys. Definitely lost the plot on this one. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into our people over here in Pierce Morgan. Let's see. We're going to have another war. Iran rejects Trump's peace plan. Let's get right into it. Perfect.
The truth is, people can see through it, Professor Morandi. They know a government stooge and propagandist when they see and hear one. And let the record show that you've not leveled any criticism at your own regime once again, because you're not allowed to. Because if you did start criticizing the regime on this show, they would probably kill you too.
Ooh. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. Appreciate the support. And let's make sure we are double tapping that screen and liking the video, but also subscribing to the channel as well. All right, guys, let's get right back into it.
The Vice President, J.D. Vance, is returning to Islamabad for the second round of negotiations on ending the war on Iran. It seems almost certain that the talks will end in failure if they happen at all. Meanwhile, the U.S. has seized an Iranian cargo ship for evading its blockade of the Hormuz Strait. Iran has responded by attacking U.S. vessels with drones. Tehran is currently saying it has no plans to attend any talks. All of this just days after President Trump announced that Iran had, quote, agreed to everything with an apparent mega deal on never closing the strait again, as well as turning over all of their so-called nuclear dust. There appears to be a greater chance of a ceasefire.
No, brother, that is not how it works, actually. When I'm talking about bridges, I'm talking about bridges that Iranians use to go from one city to another to work. I mean, bridges that they used for their logistics for their economy. I mean, we're talking about those. We're not talking about countries. We're talking about bridges that connect their cities, my friend. Like, that's what we're talking about. And yes, if you blow up a bridge that has more civilian use and it causes more pain on the civilians than military, then that is considered a war crime. So if he goes out there destroying every bridge in Iran, that's a war crime.
In the ongoing conflict between Trump and the Pope. The pontiff clarified this weekend that a new speech attacking tyrants who spend billions on wars had not been written as an attack on the White House.
The talk that I gave at the prayer meeting for peace a couple of days ago was prepared 2 weeks ago, well before the president ever commented on on myself and on the message of peace that I am promoting. And yet, as it happens, it was looked at as if I was trying to debate again the president, which is not my interest at all.
Makes sense.
Well, should His Holiness change his mind about debating President Trump, we'd be happy to host both of them here and Uncensored. The religious overtones have become a big inflection point in the Iran war. Many conservatives have criticized War Secretary Pete Hegseth for repeatedly invoking the Bible in his press updates on U.S. attacks. Some of the president's most loyal supporters were very uneasy about his expletive-laden Easter rant and the subsequent vow to end civilization. And that was before he posted the now infamous picture of himself as a supposed Red Cross medic with miraculous healing powers who happened to be dressed as Jesus Christ.
I thought it was
many of the unintended consequences of the war.
I'm sorry, this is going to be huge trolling, bro. Oh, my God, bro. When Trump did this, I was like, yeah, the Dems are going to have a field day with this. Like, so is that a doctor? Is that a doctor, guys? Does that look like a doctor to you? Like, and you know what? Some people are going to be like, oh, S.E.T is trolling and all this good stuff. But you know, if Obama or Biden did this, you would say it's blasphemy. Y'all would say disrespectful. But some of y'all, not all MAGA, because some of the guys in MAGA actually stood up and say, yo, this is wild. But some of y'all are doing mental gymnastics to defend this. And it's pretty fucking hilarious. I'm not even going to lie. Like, the excuses y'all got have me rolling on the floor. So honestly, keep it up. I'm really finding great enjoyment in it.
The rows both divided his MAGA base and further alienated the US from its allies. One notable critic is the Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni, previously a huge Trump fan, who said his attacks on Pope Leo were completely unacceptable. And they are a polite version of the very words which sprung to my mind when pictures emerged of an IDF soldier attacking an icon of Christ during the Israeli assault on southern Lebanon. It's remarkable that it even needs to be said. There's nothing holy about any aspect of the Iran war. We'll debate all of this with an all-star panel shortly, but joining me first with a view from Italy.
I mean, unless you're like one of the evangelist Christians, and then, you know, they're just about bringing back God through letting Israel pretty much control the entire Middle East, destroying the Alexa Mosque, building the third temple, and all of a sudden their Messiah returns. I mean, yeah, there is that religious overtone to it. I know, crazy, but no, there's people who actually believe that. Shit, send money to it.
Is the former Italian Prime Minister and current Senator Matteo Renzi. Mr. Renzi, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
It's a pleasure, Choppers.
So we had a situation a few months ago where it appeared that the current Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, was extremely cordial with the President of the United States. He spoke very highly of her in public. But now we've seen a big split. First over the Iran war and second over the president's attacks on Pope Leo.
Hey, so your doctor who supports Trump is going to start walking in Jesus robes. And then he's going to sit there and try to gaslight you about how he's been doing this the entire time. And you just ain't never noticed. Like, what are you talking about? Like, bro, you're usually in all white. No, bro. I've always wore red and white with the garb. Like, come on, man. Like, bro, but I promise you've been wearing all white. Nah. Well, all doctors been dressing like Jesus for years. As your doctor walks in the red and white robes with a MAGA hat on, just trying to gaslight you about how Trump is just the best thing since sliced bread. And apparently Jesus.
Of course, the first American Pope. Let's take the war first of all.
I'm joking, guys.
Obviously, Giorgia Meloni is in line with most European leaders here. What do you feel about the reaction of President Trump to Prime Minister Meloni in the context of her opposition to the war?
First of all, there are some problems in the Italian politics, not interested for you and for your audience, I suppose. Giorgia Meloni lost a constitutional referendum just 1 month ago, and she had some problem because she exaggerated with the fiscal pressure. She promised to reduce taxation and she increased. That is an internal issue, not very interesting for American people or for international people. But that is the signal of weakness. And when a leader, in this case, when Giorgia Meloni became so weak, what happened? She tried to stop her special relationship with President Trump. Why? Because President Trump gave not a very good advantage to alliance in the world. Thinking about Canada, Canadian lost rights in Canada, lost election after the victory of Trump because the people in Canada voted against Trump more than pro Mark Carney. The same
we're gonna move past this guy. I ain't gonna lie, I could barely understand him, but let's make sure we're double tapping that screen and liking the video. And let's get to the more exciting part of this interview. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. And like I said, let's make sure we double tap that screen and like the video. If you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to, engage with it. Post it to the top of the screen. Oh, and also make sure you double tap that screen, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's keep it going.
Well, let's turn to my panel now with Jaha Ali, author of The Left Hook on Substack, from The Bulwark, commentator Tim Miller, and Pastor Doug Wilson, a senior minister and author of No Such Thing as Bad Words. Michael Knowles will also be joining us imminently. Well, welcome to all of you. Pastor Doug Wilson, welcome to you, to Uncensored. I've just interviewed the former Prime Minister of Italy, Matteo Renzi, who said that President Trump had been blasphemous with the imagery he'd been posting about himself as Jesus Christ, and he angrily condemned Donald Trump's attack on Pope Leo. What is your response to that?
I would, thanks for having me first. I would divide my response into two categories. One, I think that image was blasphemous, and I tweeted that fact. I thought it ought to be printed on black velvet so we could call it blasphemous and tacky. So it was not a good image, no bueno. Not defending it. Glad the president took it down. I'm glad he responded to criticism, albeit somewhat lamely. He had a red robe, or he was robed not with a stethoscope. So that was one thing. The other thing was his scrape with the Pope. I would put that in a different category. The Pope was a Chicago lefty before he became Pope, and he is speaking bromides, inserting God into a geopolitical event, while at the same time objecting to other people injecting God. I'd just like to know what the rules are. If Pete Hegseth tweets as though he were a believing Christian, and the president tweets as though he's not a Christian, why are we upset at both? What are the rules here? And secondly, if Hegseth is a particular kind of Christian and he is speaking that way, he's speaking from his conviction with regard to the war, and the Pope is doing the same thing, a different variation, a different stream of Christianity, but he's speaking to international relations, and he's applying his understanding of the faith to it. Well, why does he get to do that and other people don't?
Okay, well, Tim Miller, you're a Catholic, I believe. Is that right?
Well, I'm a cradle Catholic. Piers, we're all on a journey together.
No, I was just curious what you feel about the row between the Pope and the president. Has what the Pope been saying crossed a line in terms of political commentary, or is he just being consistent to what most popes do, which is preach about peace and not war?
Yeah, I think that the people that think that the Pope has crossed a line, have no memory, or didn't start paying attention to the news or to the Pope before Donald Trump was around. Pope Leo's comments are in line with what we've heard from popes going all the way back to Pope John Paul. And Pope John Paul II opposed both Iraq wars.
Yeah, I don't think, and here's the thing, I think people are attacking the Pope because I don't think the Christian community like being reminded that they're not supposed to support this war due to their Christian values. The fact that some of them are cheerleading, the death of the innocent civilians or even the IRGC is a bit unchristian. And I think that the Pope telling them that or reminding them that is kind of, making them react in that certain way where they got to attack people who kind of, call them out. So that's just my opinion on it. That's what it seems, to be quite honest with you. The man reminded you about your supposed religious values, and y'all kind of lashed out on him for not following it.
Did so.
Or I guess for not getting down with this war. Here's the thing. I mean, why would he? I mean, why would any priest be okay with this? Think about it. Any religious leader. Well, not any religious, any Christian religious leader.
vocally. And, I don't recall George H.W. Bush or George W. Bush getting into a fight with the Pope. Multiple popes have criticized Democratic leaders for their stances on abortion and other issues. I don't remember Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi telling the Pope to shut his pie hole when he weighed in on, the Catholic teaching on abortion. Donald Trump wants to make everything about himself. He wants to pick this fight because that's the only thing he knows how to do is bully people and pick fights. So it's kind of what
you got to understand, though. Catholics are a crucial part of the conservative base. I mean, they're the largest group of Christians, largest group of Christians in America. So I would say they probably do have the most power when it comes to voting as a Christian group. So being in line with the Catholics and making sure you have the Catholics, I would say, I hate to use this language, but under your control is very vital for Donald Trump and honestly any Republican or any conservative. You kind of have to, you gotta have to, placate to the Christians, especially the Catholics. Why? Because they are the largest voting group in America. Like, to be real with you, you kind of gotta placate to these guys, even if you're Christian or not. I would prefer you would, but here's the problem about that. If like Donald Trump was going against the Pope, that could turn a lot of Catholics away from the conservative movement or away from MAGA. And it kind of is, because the fact that, people are even fighting about this is kind of, pissing off a lot of Catholics.
Expect for Donald Trump. It's a little confusing for J.D. Vance, who converted to Catholicism 2 seconds ago and then decided.
Nah, he converted to Catholicism a while ago. He actually just made it more public, last year. But no, he's been a Catholic for a while.
I had to write a book about it.
Right. Okay, then you read the book. Then I mean, he's been one since 2018, 2019. Wow.
Who converted to Catholicism 2 seconds ago and then decided to write a book about his conversion, to now come out and say that the Pope needs to be careful when he speaks about theology, as if J.D. Vance, who's been a Catholic for 2 minutes, knows more about Catholic doctrine and just war theory than the Pope. I think probably he would benefit from listening to the Pope. And I mean,
the Pope, whose life is literally to study, all this scripture and doctrine. So it's hilarious to sit there and say that, though. I ain't gonna lie. JD was out of pocket.
I don't know who is really buying that from him, from the vice president. So why, it's not as if he comments about how Donald Trump should be careful with his language ever. J.D. Vance never criticizes Donald Trump, but now all of a sudden he simultaneously went through this conversion to MAGA hood, where he's a Donald Trump acolyte, and he went through a conversion to Catholicism at the same time. It's very phony and it's very fake, and I don't think it's helping either of them politically.
Yeah, which are the fascinating thing to me. I'm a Catholic, and so I don't like seeing people trashing the Pope for just saying what a Pope is expected to say. I would argue, which is to preach peace, not war. But what's interesting is the politics of this. 20% of Americans are Catholic, many of whom will have voted for Donald Trump. And the latest NBC News poll showed that Pope Leo has a 34-point net favorability in his personal approval rating. Donald Trump -12. Pope Leo is one of the most popular public figures in the United States. He's the first American Pope. People like the guy. And 42% of Americans view the Pope favorably compared to 41% for Trump. So there's no real upside here politically for Trump, which just begs the question, why is he doing it?
Well, I actually went to an all-boys Jesuit Catholic high school, so if I may bring out a banger from the Bible, because we have such a religious panel today. This was Jesus' warning in Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. That's for you, Pastor Wilson. But speaking about the Pope, it's terrible politics, like you said. First and foremost, this is the spiritual leader of over.
One distasteful thing that Christians do is when they try to hit you with scripture to, talk down on you. And I'm like, yeah, Jesus put out those scriptures, or not Jesus, but God laid out those scriptures to uplift people. The fact that there are really Christians out there that use scripture to try to put down people, I mean, that's completely against what God gave us the word for. So, can y'all not do that and not disgrace the word of our Lord? Thank you. Thank you very much.
1 billion people. The Pope, just because he wears a costume and has the Pope mobile, Donald Trump thinks he's a politician who fights crime. I think Donald Trump thinks the Pope is Batman. No, it's a spiritual leader with immense significance for the world, and not just Catholics around the world, but a lot of religious communities. And as such, Donald Trump picking a fight with Pope Leo, like you said, who is the most popular American right now. When all Americans are polled, the #1 most popular American is Pope Leo, the first American Pope. Donald Trump, in this disastrous war, has attacked the Pope 8 times. On Easter, the holiest day for Christians, which celebrates resurrection and rebirth, what did Donald Trump do? A blasphemous tweet using profane language, threatening genocide in this unwinnable war. Then I think he converts to Islam, Piers, to mock Muslims, and he says, "Praise be to Allah." He follows it up with more genocidal tweets. Then a week later on Orthodox Easter, what does he do? Mocks the Pope with this blasphemous image, the first commandment, "Thou shalt not worship any other gods before me." Then he gaslights the world and says, "It wasn't me as the Pope or God or Jesus. No, I was just the Red Cross." And everyone's like, please, now you're lying to us. But the Pope, meanwhile, is doing what the Pope always does. The Pope is preaching the word of God, trying his best to live the life of Jesus. Jesus, who, by the way, healed the sick and the blind, didn't charge copay, who divided fish and loaves, gave it to people, didn't tell them to pull themselves up from the bootstrap.
Nah, that was a real statement. It's like Jesus out here healing the blind, ain't charging copay, no insurance needed. Free from the Lord, your Savior.
And Donald Trump has picked this fight with the Pope and says he needs to do more to fight crime. It's terrible politics. It's also blasphemous. It is also terrible with his base. You've seen Alex Jones now invoke the 25th Amendment, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You've seen videos now of MAGA saying, you know what, this is a step too far. It's just unnecessary vulgarity on top of an unpopular war. I want to remind you all, he promised his base no more forever wars. What does he do? Lead us in this unwinnable war. Oil prices are up, gas prices are up, fertilizer prices are up, and now we're in food shortages. He promised to release the Epstein files, is doing a cover-up. He said he'll bring down inflation. Now we're going to get worse inflation. And to top it all off, Pierce, he is now attacking, like you said, the most popular political, not political, but the most popular individual in America, Pope Leo, who is the spiritual leader of 1 billion Catholics. On top of that, he has a war in Iran. He's surrounded by all these cosplay crusaders like Pete Hegseth insulting Muslims. And if I can, to the pastor real quick. Well, Pete Hegseth is not the Pope.
What's so wild about that? Like, it's kind of crazy because the disrespect of like Catholics and all this, like, it's kind of wild. And then while also bringing up the crusade, because the Crusades was initiated by the Catholics. So yeah, all you Christian supremacists who are now sitting there bashing Catholics while also forgetting that the crusade was initiated by the Pope, the crusade that y'all like to whitewash and dick ride, talking about, oh, it's all good for Christians to do forced conversions and taking of land, but when Muslims do it, oh my God. So yeah, it's kind of crazy how y'all talking crazy about the Pope now, but y'all kind of champion what the Catholics did, with the Crusades. What did y'all do? Well, no. I'm talking about all the other Christian domination. What did y'all do? The only real steppers out here was the Catholics. Those were the only real Christian steppers. Only real Christian goons out here was the Catholics. And y'all insulting them now? The disrespect. The Catholics should be offended. They have every right to be offended at this point.
Pete Hegseth is the Secretary of Defense in the United States of America. Pete Hegseth should read the Constitution. We have a separation of church and state. Also, Pastor, I know Pete Hegseth is your star pupil. Pete Hegseth, maybe he should read the Bible and not watch Pulp Fiction, because Pete Hegseth embarrassed himself and just quoted Samuel L. Jackson from Ezekiel 25:17. So maybe when you get invited to the Pentagon, sit with Pete Hegseth, have him read the Bible and read the Constitution, and maybe he could just tattoo Ezekiel on his arm this time. That's your failure, sir, as his teacher.
Yeah, nice try.
Well, Pastor Doug, your response to that?
Oh, I gotta make sure to double tap that screen, like the video. And you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just send it in a super chat, or you can send it in a Venmo. Appreciate the support, guys. Hey, let's keep it going. And make sure to double tap that screen and like the video.
Yeah, there are a multitude of things to respond to there. First, to say that the Pope is simply talking about peace and love and all the things that a spiritual leader has to say. The spiritual leader of that many professing Christians needs to do more than wave his hands over a geopolitical mess and speak in bromides, and then back it off and say, I wasn't talking about President Trump in the clip that was shown at the beginning. You can't just say boys, boys, as though you have any kind of moral authority to speak to it. Pope John Paul II did oppose the Iraq wars, as did I, right? So that's one thing. But Pope John Paul II was was instrumental in the collapse of the Soviet Union. He was no stranger to hardball politics. He knew what he was doing. He and Thatcher and Reagan had something that they were working on. And so that's, it's a little bit simplistic. Pope John Paul II was not speaking in bromides. Francis was a bromide meister. Pope Leo, the Pope Leo is speaking in all these sweetie nice categories. You can't say, and this is really important, you can't say, you quote Matthew 7 and say that's for me. Beware of people who are wolves in sheep's clothing, and then point to the man who is dressed out in sheep's clothing. The one thing we can say about Trump is that he's not a wolf in sheep's clothing. If anything, he's a wolf in wolf's clothing, or quite possibly a sheep in wolf's clothing. The Pope, who is doing all these God is in favor of pussy willows and rainbows, that doesn't cut it. The Iranian regime is a murderous regime. There are legitimate objections.
I mean, hang on, Pastor, if I may.
I mean, I don't know. That does kind of go outside the words of Jesus. Do I need to pull the Bible out again, bro? Because I feel like we be forgetting our guy Jesus when he said on Sermon on the Mount. I mean, first off, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. So, I mean, bro, what happened to be a peacemaker? Don't you want to be a son of your heavenly Father, or nah? Y'all just gave up on that? I mean, no, what happened? I'm reading it right here in the Bible. It's like right here. I mean, oh, well, what else did my man said? He said, we'll see here. You have heard it said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. I mean, what happened to that? And I mean, if you want me to go ahead and go all pastor on you, what my man is talking about is trying to understand your enemies who persecute you, so that you don't always continue this endless cycle of violence. Because when you understand why they hate you, you can fix those problems and you can end the endless cycle of violence that God hates to see us carry out with each other. So I'm sorry, but it's right there in the Bible. Y'all know damn well it's there, but y'all choose to ignore it. Why? Because I don't know. Some of y'all just bloodthirsty bastards. I don't get it. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, though. I can accept that.
Jump in. Let me jump in, because I'm sorry, but it seems to me if you're going to compare the Pope's rhetoric in the last month with Donald Trump's rhetoric, one has been brazenly espousing genocide, talking about the end of civilization in Iran, which would mean the murder of 90 million people, the vast majority.
He was talking about the regime.
Civilians. People could. Well, he wasn't talking about the regime, was he? He said the end of civilization, not the end of the regime.
I mean, bro, it ain't only the regime that lives in Iran, bro. Y'all sound crazy. He was talking about the regime. He said the entire civilization, bro. I mean, that includes the people of Iran. I just want to let you know that.
Why do we try and pretend that Donald Trump didn't say what we heard him say?
Oh, look, you don't have to persuade me that Donald Trump's rhetoric can be all over the place. His tweets there were an art of the unhinged deal. He's dealing with a maniacal regime, and he is negotiating with them.
You know, at least he admit that is the art of the unhinged deal. I'm going to say unhinged things to get the Iranians to come to the table. No, it's not going to make them double down in their stance. It's not going to make them puff their chest out even harder. No, they're going to capitulate and cower because I'm threatening to destroy their entire civilization. Like, who told them that was going to work? All right, though.
More and more people to hate Israel.
You said Israelis should stand up against Ben-Gvir, Smotrich.
This government has to be very careful now that it doesn't drive more and more people to hate Israel.
You said Israelis should stand up against Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, but they're going to be voting for them in larger numbers in the next election.
The siren is now.
We should remember also the Palestinian victims at this moment.
He doesn't stand up for the dead soldiers, so he's not really Israeli. He's a foreign-funded hater.
Okay.
There's not one party that represents you. You're out.
The Arab parties, they represent him. You would have been murdered by Hamas on October 7 if they got close to you as well.
It may come as a shock to viewers in the many places where the Iran war is deeply unpopular, but some communities in Israel staged a protest this weekend against the ceasefire in Lebanon. Israel sees its war on Hezbollah as inseparable from the Iran war. Most Israelis support it. And there's every chance that Netanyahu will suffer big political consequences if Trump decrees an early end to the war that Netanyahu persuaded him to start. In any case, the state of Israel could be living with the consequences of Netanyahu's decisions for many years to come. Many formerly reliable allies of Israel eventually condemned the war in Gaza and moved to recognize a Palestinian state. Well, today the Spanish government will formally ask the entire European Union to sever its ties with Israel over its violations of
Correction. Okay, so it wasn't the UN, it was the it was the European Union. So yeah, he's about to ask the entire Spain's about to ask the entire European Union to cut ties with Israel, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to do it. I mean, there's a lot of countries that have just had it with Israel at this point. I mean, shoot, hopefully. I mean, America not being one of them, sadly, but there's a lot of countries.
International law. And here in the United States, where it matters most, support for Israel is cratering. The days of unanimous bipartisan support are done. Young people have turned in droves.
Gen Z, that rising generation, look at this. Across party there, 3/4 of Gen Z say they sympathize more with the Palestinians than the Israelis. That's a massive sea change.
Well, every candidate to succeed Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, but let me just explain why people sympathize with the Palestinians more. Because if you're an American, if you're a real American, you honestly understand why the Palestinians are fighting. I know what you're saying, like, what in God's name are you talking about? Well, let me break it down for you. The Palestinians are literally fighting for their sovereignty. They're literally fighting for the right to exist. You know how Israel says they have a right to exist? Well, I mean, when you ask them to Palestine, they want to hit you with they don't exist. So I'm sorry, but if you're the Palestinians, your ancestors lived on this land, but out of nowhere, the Israelis come and take it from you. It's called the Nakba. They literally take it from them, kick them out, and force them into basically an open air concentration camp, which is Gaza. And they're just supposed to sit there and accept that? Like, really think about that. If you're a real American, and that was happened to you, you would fight tooth and nail. You would die over fighting back for your freedom. So I'm sorry, but that's why a lot of people actually get down with the Palestinians. And nobody supports the innocent killing of civilians, but we do understand the plight when you read the history of it. So no, it's not supporting terrorism, but it's understanding that, if you're going to sit there and literally try to take people's land, try to dehumanize them, and try to erase their existence from this earth, and you expect them not to fight back, you're tripping. Like, you're literally tripping. Or you just hate Palestinians that much, that's what you hope they do.
President, whether Democrat or Republican, will now have to take a position on this profound change in public opinion. Democratic presidential hopeful Rahm Emanuel, who's Jewish, is calling for the U.S. to end preferential treatment for Israel altogether.
We don't subsidize Great Britain buying weapons. We don't supply.
And those of you who are saying, well, we're here in America. Well, I'm sorry, then I guess you just don't have enough perspective to have this conversation. And I guess that's only for high IQ people. You got to be able to understand where other people is coming from to actually stop this, endless cycle of violence. Did I not just read the Bible where Jesus tells us to love those who persecute us and all that good stuff, and love your enemy and all that? Why? Because if you have constant hate for them, they're always going to be your enemy. There's always going to be constant violence. And unless you're ready to eradicate an entire race, you're always going to be in conflict. And some people just can't understand that. Or some people, like I said, have this spoiled American perspective to where, well, that could never happen to me, so I just won't think about it. Okay, well, you just lack perspective then, and that's fine.
Or financial assistance to Japan. Israel's a very wealthy nation. There should be no more taxpayer support for what they want to do. And they get the same deal that any one of our allies do. They have to abide by the laws of the United States if they're going to buy X weapons. And that's how it should be constructed. Jake's point, and I agree with this, is the prime minister went to this president like he's gone to 4 other presidents. And every one of the other presidents said, not a chance are we doing that because the equities are not worth it. This president bought it. He has responsibility as a commander in chief. And I think he made a big mistake for it.
Well, all of this amounts to an extraordinary, unprecedented shift in a country where presidential candidates traditionally rank their support for Israel on a scale of 9 to 10. Whether Israel can do anything to remedy this is unclear. What is clear is that photos of the IDF attacking icons of Jesus with a sledgehammer are unlikely to resolve the
situation. And here's the problem with that statement here. Like, you're right. We conquered it. But here's the problem with that. What did the Indians do? Did they just take their land being taken sitting down? No, they was fighting us tooth and nail to the point we had to give them their own damn reserves outside of our laws. So history just shows that you just can't sit there and take away people's sovereignty and act like they're not going to fight you back tooth and nail for years and years. And until you give them something, it's going to be this continuous beef. I mean, our own history proves this. But all right, though, back to the show. Make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to super chat it in. I'll be happy to engage with it. But sometimes I'll pick out some interesting comments. Sometimes.
Do anything to remedy this is unclear. What is clear is that photos of the IDF attacking icons of Jesus with a sledgehammer are unlikely to resolve the situation. Joining me to debate all of this is former Israeli hostage negotiator Gershon Baskin, retired Lieutenant Colonel and IDF spokesman Jonathan Conricus, Ishai Fleischer, the international spokesperson for the Jewish community of Hebron and advisor to the Israeli government, and Gideon Levy, author and commentator for Haaretz. So welcome to all of you. Jonathan Conricus, let's just start, if we may, with this appalling image of an IDF soldier in southern Lebanon attacking and destroying an icon of Jesus Christ with a sledgehammer. And this is now being confirmed by Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu said today, I was stunned and saddened to learn that an IDF soldier damaged a Catholic religious icon in southern Lebanon. I condemn the act in the strongest terms. We express regret for the incident and for any hurt this has caused to believers in Lebanon and around the world. And the IDF itself posted on X, the IDF views the incident with great severity and emphasizes the soldier's conduct is wholly inconsistent with the values expected of its troops. The IDF is working to assist the community in restoring the statue to its place. A priest in Debel said the cross was part of a small shrine in the garden of a family living on the edge of the village. There will be many American Christians, Jonathan, who are already probably reeling, if they're Catholic, from President Trump's constant attacks against Pope Leo. But they're now looking at this and thinking, why are we supporting this attack on Iran with Israel if the IDF in Lebanon are desecrating icons of Jesus Christ? What would you say to them?
I mean, bro, Israel's been known for driving out Christians from their homes in the West Bank. They've bombed churches in Gaza. I mean, they spit on Christians. So, and not all Israelis, but there are certain sects of Jews that live in Israel that think it's okay to spit on Christians. So I'm sorry, but it's kind of common. Some of these Israelis really don't give a fuck about Christianity. I mean, it is part of their religion to not really see Christ as a holy figure that he is. So, I mean, hey, man, it matches up to me. I don't know what y'all surprised about.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Hello, Piers. Shalom from Israel. I wouldn't make any, connection between the two different things. One is American foreign policy, the pursuit of defeating the Iranian regime, making sure that they don't have nuclear weapons, and protecting Americans and American interest from a future significant threat against the U.S. That's one thing. That's the why the U.S. is fighting against Iran. Has absolutely nothing to do with this reprehensible act, criminal act by an Israeli soldier. I hope that what the Prime Minister said and what the IDF has publicly said will happen, that there will be swift and transparent disciplinary measures. This is a soldier who I don't think he is fit to serve, definitely not in combat, and maybe not in the IDF at all, and should be punished for desecrating a religious symbol. And I think that it's absolutely contrary to everything that we stand for. I could only wish that, I saw your tweet, which got 1 million views, and I've seen lots of other coverage of it. Obviously, the usual people are out there feasting, not necessarily you in this category, but the usual anti-Semites feasting on this reprehensible act by an IDF soldier.
Oh, we're
Didn't
feasting.
see these same people.
We're feasting. Okay, well, let me feast some more. All right, I'm about to do some feasting, guys. Look at the horror. Look what they've done. Our greatest ally. It's okay. I'm
كاسرين الصليب هلا لميناه حطيناه على جنب منطقة الدورة
I'm
حد
feasting,
مستشفى
guys. Hold on. I need to get my daily dose of spreading anti-Semitism. Okay, I'm feasting, as he said, feasting. I don't know what he's doing, but I'm over here feasting. This guy over here getting crazy with the sledgehammer, but me, I'm feasting. Okay.
Even tweet when hundreds of Christians were massacred in Nigeria, or when churches were bombed and desecrated by Muslims in Syria or Iran or Iraq or any other place, or when Christians in Arab Christians in Palestine are forced to flee out of persecution by Sunni Muslims. It is something special when Jews are caught on camera doing horrible and indefensible actions to Christian symbols. But I suggest that we put, we check and treat everything as equal. Last thing I'll say, and I think the Prime Minister said it pretty clearly, if we put things into context and to answer the question of, Christians supporting Israel, Israel is the only country in the Middle East where Christians are safe. Israel is the only country where there's freedom of worship in the Middle East. Israel is the only country.
That is a lie. I mean, let's be real. The Christians live safe in Jordan. They live safe in Qatar. I mean, they live pretty safe in UAE, Saudi Arabia. So those are just a handful of Muslim countries, and Christians live safely in there. So why do they lie and sit here and try to think like Israel's the only place Christians could go and feel safe? I mean, if that was the case, then all the Christians in all these Muslim countries would be flooding to Israel. But there's more Christians in Qatar than there is in Israel.
Country in the Middle East that has a growing and safe.
Thank you. Somebody, and Iran, Lebanon, them as well. Bro, a large population of Christians. So no, that's not true at all. There's Christians reside all over the Middle East. So does Jews.
Christian population where Christians are participating in public and political and economic and academic life. They are free to choose every profession, and they live very good lives, excellent lives, like me and many others do in Israel, contrary to everything else that happens in the Middle East. And I think that is important context. But to summarize and to be very clear, reprehensible, shouldn't have been done. I hope swift action is taken, and I hope that people can look beyond this, which is clickbaity and very interesting on an internet level, and recognize who the real villains and who the real people in the Middle East who are religiously intolerant. Those are the fanatic Muslims. They do far worse than bash the head of a statue, as insensitive and horrible as that is. They take the lives of Christians themselves, or they persecute them. So,
I mean, that's the IDF just did that in Lebanon, took the life of Christians. So the same thing you're getting mad at what ISIS did, that's what you guys are doing right now.
Let's keep that into perspective as we continue speaking.
Yeah, some might view the actions of an IDF soldier to be a pretty extraordinary example of intolerance, actually, particularly of someone else's religious beliefs.
And I do want you to understand something. A lot of people don't understand this, but let me break it down to you. Yes, Islam, the Muslims, they worship the same God that the Jews and the Christians worship. And you want to know why I know this? Because of the Alexa Mosque, the Dome on the Rock, right? And if you don't know what the Dome on the Rock is, I mean, well, you should know, especially as a Christian or a Jew, because this is where I believe, Moses received the 10 Commandments and something about a sacrificing of a son as well. Sorry to be butchering up my Christian theology, guys. I truly apologize. But yes, the Dome on the Rock. And it's crucial part of Judeo-Christian and Jewish history is part of a mosque, the Alexa Mosque. Let me go ahead and show you a bit of some pictures of it right here. Dome on the Rock in Jerusalem. Yes. Let me see right here. This rock. Pretty much where the foundations of Judaism and Christianity come from, and Islam as well. So this is how you know, well, Islam worships the same God, because they worship the Moses. They worship all the miracles that came out of this rock, or all the revelations that came out of this rock. And they built a mosque on it, the third holiest site in all of Islam. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That they built a holy site on top of a very crucial like location in Judaism and Christianity, the Dome on the Rock. So remember that, guys, when people try to say, oh, they don't worship the same God. Well, then why do they honor the Dome on the Rock? Why do they build a whole holy site around it? That I ain't gonna lie, the Jews is low-key pissed off at them for that. And we, you know, some certain Christians, I mean, they're somewhat pissed off a bit about it, but it is what it is, because it proves that they worship the same God as us. Well, or, you know, the other Abrahamic faiths. Like, I hope you guys remember this. It is an Abrahamic faith, aka worshiping of the same Abrahamic God. All right, then. Now we got that quick little lesson. Let's get back to Pierce.
But let me come to Gideon Levy, because this dovetails with a very disturbing report that Haaretz, the publication that you write for, put a report out over the weekend featuring anonymous interviews with former IDF soldiers detailing atrocities they'd witnessed in Gaza. One described serving in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza in December 2023 when a platoon noticed suspicious figures and fired. He said, when we got to a destination, I realized these weren't terrorists. It was an old guy and 3 boys, maybe teenagers. Not one of them was armed, but their bodies were riddled with bullets. Then the battalion commander came over with his people, and one spat on the bodies and yelled, this is what happens to anybody who messes with Israel, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, and if you don't know, look, so there was a documentary released out by IDF soldiers who left the IDF because of the atrocities being done in Gaza and in the West Bank. And they come out and they tell their stories. Now, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and react to that on stream one day, but I'm going to be real with you, though. I'm going to warn you guys. That shit is in Hebrew. You know, they got the subtitles and all that good stuff, but it's mainly going to be in Hebrew. But I will react to it one day, because these guys do say some pretty crazy things, and it's extremely heartbreaking. But all right, though, let's get to it. And this is what Pierce is talking about. IDF soldiers literally coming out and saying, yo, like, we wilding out there in Gaza, and we not doing the Lord's work at all.
A very disturbing report that Haaretz, the publication that you write for, put a report out over the weekend featuring anonymous interviews with former IDF soldiers detailing atrocities they'd witnessed in Gaza. One described serving in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza in December 2023 when a platoon noticed suspicious figures and fired. He said, when we got to a destination, I realized these weren't terrorists. It was an old guy and 3 boys, maybe teenagers. Not one of them was armed, but their bodies were riddled with bullets. Then the battalion commander came over with his people, and one spat on the bodies and yelled, this is what happens to anybody who messes with Israel, you sons of bitches. Another soldier described a shooting at an army outpost in southern Gaza. She said, suddenly the soldiers on watch noticed 5 Palestinians crossing the line they weren't allowed to cross, heading to northern Gaza. The battalion commander gave an order to overwhelm them with fire, even though they hadn't been confirmed as armed or anything like that. A tank started shooting at them with its machine gun, hundreds of bullets. 4 of the 5 Palestinians were killed. A few hours later, a bulldozer buried them in the sand. The article also describes a sniper who shot people seeking aid and drone operators who killed civilians. And there was a lot more very, very shocking detail in this investigation. So you put it together, you know, much as people will listen to Jonathan Comricus and understand context is important, but the combination of that appalling image of this IDF soldier desecrating a statue of Jesus with this report in your publication, it certainly is testing extremely hard, I would argue, this constant refrain we hear that the IDF is the most moral army in the world.
I can show you.
With an 8-to-1 civilian kill ratio, yep. Most moral army, most compassionate army in the world with an 8-to-1 civilian kill ratio. That is crazy.
That Jonathan will say that those were exceptions.
I guess that's
you will bring more and more testimonies by soldiers, and you will always hear the Israeli denial, the Israeli self-denial. There will always be Jonathans who will explain us that those exceptions don't tell us the full story. They will talk about the context, and I want to talk about the context. The context of the soldier who broke this sculpture of Jesus, and the context of those horrible and horrifying stories that we read last Friday in Haaretz is the same context. An army who is now preoccupied in a brutal occupation for decades now cannot behave otherwise. You cannot maintain such an occupation for so many years and remain human. Doesn't work. Didn't work in any other occupation in the world. And the best thing that people like Jonathan can do is once to look at the truth and to admit it, because we first of all need it, we Israelis. What will make people realize that we grow a monster in front of our eyes? What will they make them being convinced that we crossed any possible line? You know, Piers, there are 6 million uprooted people now in the Middle East, wandering around from here to there. Part of them lost their homes forever. In Gaza, in Lebanon, in Iran. Are we really proud to be a country which creates such a reality for 6 million human beings? Isn't it the time once to look at the truth and say, yes, we went too far? Our megalomaniac dreams, our belief that only by force and only by military force, without any restraints, will solve the problems. I don't deny there are problems, there are enemies, there are dangers. But look what we are doing. We are now in all fronts around, refusing any ceasefire. Thanks God we had Donald Trump to stop these 2 wars now. Otherwise, we would continue it forever. And the Jonathans would justify, and they will never acknowledge that something went wrong, that something is sick, basically, not exceptions. I was today in the West Bank. I'm there every week. There is no exceptions anymore. The pogroms of the settlers together with the soldiers, together, planned together, committed together. This is not an exception. This is an army of occupation who cannot operate otherwise but become more and more and more brutal. And here we see the result. And the result you just showed when someone like Rami Manuel, who speaks Hebrew, who spent some years, I think, in Israel, for him it is enough. He says enough is enough. Not me, the self-hating Jew. Someone who was a real, genuine friend of Israel says enough is enough. And you will hear more and more those voices. And the only way to put an end to it is, first of all, to recognize, to realize that something is wrong with us, for God's sake.
Oh, damn.
Well, strong words there. Ishai Fleischer, the Rahm Emanuel comments I thought were very striking. He's a very high-profile American Jew, basically saying it's time for America to stop treating Israel as an exceptional country that is worthy of our billions of dollars of support. They should be treated the same as everybody else. And that comes with the backdrop of this Pew Research Center survey showing that more than 60% of Americans now view Israel unfavorably, up from 53% only last year. Now, I'm old enough to remember when these kind of numbers would be utterly unthinkable 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, as somebody like me who loves Israel as a country, loves Israeli people, has many, many Jewish friends around the world, from LA to Sydney to London, and has become increasingly critical myself of the Israeli government, this one, and how it's been behaving, and critical of many of the actions of the IDF at the behest of this government.
All right, now let's get over to here in PBD and what he's saying. Do want to make sure I get to all these guys. Oh, God, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. If you've got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, feel free to super chat it in, or you can go ahead and send a Venmo to double the value of your support. But all right, though, if you can't do that, make sure to double tap that screen because it is free to like the video. All right. Oh, and subscribe to the channel as well. All right, now I'm done with all the plugs.
J.D. Vance is still going to Islamabad 18 hours. And word on the street is that IRGC is not going to show up. U.S. is saying they are going to show up. And it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening here. Go ahead, Rob.
Hi, Kevin. So negotiations are back on despite some back and forth reporting that we had seen earlier on in the day. The White House tells Fox that Vice President J.D. Vance will be in attendance and he will be leading the delegation back in Pakistan once again. And it comes as the clock is ticking to reach a new deal because we know that this current ceasefire deal, this 2-week deal, is set to expire on Wednesday. So there's a lot of diplomatic efforts ramping back up once again to land a new deal before then. After those historic face-to-face talks last weekend, Vice President Vance will be joined once again by envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Yesterday, Iran said that it received new proposals from the U.S., and the country's deputy foreign minister warned that a framework of understanding must be agreed to first. President Donald Trump today posted on Truth Social, writing, quote, "We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant, every single bridge in Iran." So the president facing some quick criticism because of those words this morning, but also over the war in general. Take a listen.
American troops have died, others are being injured, and Americans are paying $1 more for gas because of President Trump's war of choice. I think it is very, very
You can pause it right here. By the way, while this is happening, Iran refuses to join latest round of peace talks as Trump sends top envoy to Pakistan. Rob, I think you got a video on this one as well. Claim U.S. has unrealistic demands. Iranians are saying unrealistic demands. Tom, what do you think is going to happen here?
So I felt like this was coming all weekend. It's like the shoe's going to drop. Here we go. They're either going to break the ceasefire or they're going to do something. I was almost certain. I'm just kind of waiting for it. And then I saw, hey, the blockade was serious because, they radioed to a ship, hey, you better hang on. You're going to get hit. And they hit the engine room. And they said, now you guys all evacuate, get out of there. So they were trying to hit the ship, but at the same time, be, and it's hard to use this word in war, but to be humane about it, to say, hey, I don't want to kill your sailors, but that ship is going where it shouldn't be going. Bang. And that happens.
You want to play that real quick, Rob? So this is the clip Tom is talking about. Go for it.
Gangster.
Motor vessel Tosca, vacate your engine room. We're prepared to subject you to disabling fire.
Not listening. Just watch. It's coming.
Oh.
So they hit the engine.
Stopped it then.
And then this is what you're talking about, Tom, that they took over the ship.
Yep. And this is a 5-inch gun. These aren't torpedoes. They're not trying to sink it and create an environmental disaster. They're trying to put 2 right through the hole into the engine room and disable it. That sort of like, I warned you. And now they got to get tugboats and tow it off someplace. And that's when you're in the middle of a blockade, I was reading about this weekend. This is the military technique when you don't want to have like oil and a huge environmental crisis on the shores of maybe innocent countries, not the one on the north, but certainly there's several on the south that are just sitting there. And so like I said, I was waiting for the Iran to break the ceasefire or to refuse or to be difficult, like right at the last minute. They're playing along, bang, and then this on the blockade. So this kind of happened right on time. This is what I was expecting. At the last minute, things are going to crack.
No, it just brings up something that we've talked about a lot, which is asymmetrical warfare, that Iran can kind of be reckless. It can push things. It just has to get through one time. It has to have one mine go off. It has to disrupt one thing. Trump has to be 100% right 100% of the time. And, it's really interesting because it becomes a global issue. So Trump's not just worried about the United States. Now he has the pressure of the entire world on his back, which is just such a hard place to be in. So,
yeah, because of his military action and him pretty much hitting Iran first, they closed the strait, and now the entire global economy is suffering. And our guys over there who actually need the strait more than we do are suffering the most. So, of course, the entire world's on Trump's ass because they're going like, bro, you started a war, you made a mess, and now you try to drag us into it. We told you to kick rocks, and now you're over here complaining about how nobody want to help you open the strait. Everybody's a coward. I mean, that's really not fair because that's not what NATO was for. like I said, NATO is supposed to be a reaction from an attack, not you guys just not them being able to drag us or us being able to drag them into any conflict that we pop off. I'm pretty sure that's not what NATO was built on.
I'm hoping this comes to some kind of conclusion fast. I'm hoping this doesn't continue to drag on and drag on and drag on.
Adam.
So there's talks going on in Islamabad, Pakistan. Islamabad, Pakistan. Do you think that the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, with their capital of Islamabad, is being unbiased? Maybe. I don't know. It's actually the United States who chose Islamabad to hold peace talks. Why? Because where else are you going to go? Islamabad basically is brokering a ceasefire. Remember Trump brokered a ceasefire between Pakistan and India. There's a relationship there. We see what's going on there. But the whole context of this Trump's war of choice, Trump chose this. No, the United States, all our presidents, all our leaders, they've been speaking out against this.
I'm sorry, but no, he chose this. I mean, this option was given to multiple presidents and they said no. Trump said yes, aka he chose it. Iran was no imminent threat. They had no nukes, no nuclear weapons program. So we're literally over there just because they have enrichment. And now you just want to take away their right to enrich uranium, which, I mean, okay, great. But we was able to do that with the JCPOA, or at least have restrictions on it. Now we're fighting them over something that we had them, signed under diplomatically.
For almost 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Trump had the balls to do something about it.
Or the stupidity.
The weakness, the fecklessness of the left and the woke Reich is actually alarming. Rob, do you have that clip of the guy with...
I'll give him that. I mean, guys, the Democrat politicians, they sit here in our face and they say, and look, I'm not a Democrat at all, but they sit there in the Dems' face and they say, oh, well, we're against this war. Donald Trump, this is an illegal war. But let's be real, behind closed doors are high-fiving that it happened. So this is why the Dems really ain't showing too much force into stopping it. Because, I mean, look, these guys support Israel as well, almost as much as the conservatives. So trust me, ain't really no getting away from that Israeli influence.
Kamala Harris, projected potential president, 2028, challenger to run. I don't know if you can fast forward this clip. Here's a lifelong Democrat basically saying, I can no longer vote Democrat because of what? The hypocrisy. Here's her basically saying the number one enemy, the number one threat geopolitically is Iran. This is Kamala Harris 2 years ago. I want to know what changed. Can we go to the beginning of that clip, Rob? It's at the very beginning, right? When she says, I'm a Kamala Harris voter. It's the first sentence.
And I thought she would be a great president. Until very recently, when I saw her comments about the war in Iran.
I'm going
to play some clips from before the election and from after the war.
He's a Bills fan.
He needs your See what you think.
Part of the country do you consider to be our greatest?
Can we play this, Rob, at 60
I
minutes?
think there's...
Okay, stop.
Okay, we can't play it?
No.
Point is,
can't play 60 minutes.
Sorry about that, Rob.
Yeah.
The point is, she says Iran. So our greatest, what did he say, enemy? Did the greatest geopolitical threat? Whatever it was, she said Iran. What changed, guys? I want to know what changed. What changed is Trump did something about it.
No, what changed is that Trump was tricked into thinking that this was going to be a 4-day, 2-week war, and it's not. Well, the reason why other presidents didn't do this because they realized that Iran is a regional power and they will close the Strait of Hormuz and that will cause global economic damage. They knew all this was going to happen. This is why they didn't do it. It's not because they didn't have the balls to do it. Bro, I'm pretty sure if any president seen taking out Iran as a simple task, they would have did it already. But the reason they don't do it is because it's just too risky, as we're seeing right now. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. They still got their enriched uranium. We killed the guy who put in the religious fatwa. So now we don't really even have a track on the uranium, to be quite honest with you. We don't really know what they're going to do with that. I mean, the regime is still in power. I mean, I'm not really seeing a win here. Oh, we destroyed their Navy and their Air Force from the 70s? It was never a threat. So, I mean, if you're talking about their Air Force and Navy being an imminent threat, then I'm sorry, but they lied to you.
So now the entire identity of the left is Trump's bad. I wish one thing. I wish the left loved America as much as they hated Trump. It's crazy. And if I can continue for 10 more seconds, you know this flag that I wear everywhere? I gave Tom one today. You want to know the craziest thing? People come up to me.
That's funny. Somebody in the chat said, well, if you yell death to America, you've lost the right to have nuclear weapons. Well, okay. I mean, great. Stick with that logic. So since we pretty much Americans made a song called Bomb Bomb Iran, then we shouldn't have nuclear weapons either then. Because, I mean, we're out here making songs about bombing a country. I mean, are you going to be consistent or not?
Me? And they go, so you're Republican, right? I go, why would you say that? They go, because you're wearing an American flag. I go, so what are you saying? The American flag only represents Republicans? They go, well, you know, like, yeah, Republicans tend to like the flag more. I go, what a sad state of affairs, buddy. That the American flag only represents one party. What a shame. No. I wish Democrats were more patriotic.
Well, my thing is, there is no way that our government, the president, everybody didn't know this is what they were going to get with Iran. Like, and you said Islamic Republic, these people are on a mission from God. Okay. They don't care about their own citizens' lives. So I'm shocked why this is a surprise. If you get into a wrestling match with a pig and you come out and you go, what the, I'm dirty. That's not like, it doesn't make sense to me. They knew.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's why other presidents didn't want to get into a fight with Iran either, because they knew they were going to play dirty. They were going to play asymmetric warfare on our ass, and they're doing it pretty well, sadly. Why? Because they got the global economy by the balls. So we're just sitting there kind of just, I'm gonna be real with you, we're just sitting there kind of lost for words at this point. Like, we're doing all these military actions and it ain't really doing anything for us. We put a blockade on top of their blockade. I mean, but the Strait of Hormuz being closed is like the main problem. And Iran's put the blockade on all ships. We put a blockade on Iran ships, aka nothing is getting through. Like, nobody wins. It's like a neutral stance here. But like I said, regime's still in power. They still got their missile and drone capabilities that can terrorize the entire Middle East. Where is the progress here again?
It's going to be like this. They're not going to quit. They're not going to stop. And that's why the two main parts of the mission were taking over, getting rid of the Ayatollah and all those things. But the uprising, the people, this is not going to stop. Do you think the IRGC and these maniacs are going to stop doing it? This is going to be endless, Adam, because think about it. If you don't care about your own citizens, you have the army, they're going to keep, nope, because you know what they want to do? Their mission is let Trump bomb all the plants, let Trump bomb all the oil plants, so we'll show the world how messed up these people are and watch. Because, dude, if they put, and by the way, it'd be their fault, but if they do that, imagine how many people that aren't radicalized there around the world are going to get radicalized because they're going to go, oh, he is a tyrant.
So this did to Pat's question when we started this segment. Did this surprise you? With
not at all, Tommy. Not at all. Because you're like, how many times do we say we don't negotiate with terrorists? The leadership, the Ayatollahs, Tom, they're on a completely different. When I say mission from God, Tom, that's who they're answering to. They're saying God is making them.
Rob, can you pull up?
Okay, well, he's actually got a point on the Shia Muslims. They believe in martyrdom. They think it's the highest honor to be martyred. So everybody that's dying in this war, they're considering them a martyr and the highest honor. So these Shia Muslims are low-key ready to die, and they're ready to fight for their country. And I mean, let's be real. Like I said, this is why regime change is impossible. We got to remember, the IRG still has like a 1 million-man army on the ground. These guys still have underground tunnels, underground cities, and all this good stuff that we'd have to put boots on the ground to low-key like disarm. So yeah, guys, if we're not willing to put boots on the ground, then we're not willing to actually get the regime out of power. And you can sit there and believe Trump lies about regime change, but I'm sorry, if we had regime change, then these guys wouldn't be closing the strait. They wouldn't be shooting down our ceasefire deals or anything like that. So let's just use common sense here.
Pull up this clip I just sent you, which is all the presidents are speaking about on Iran. I just texted to you. And yeah, this one right here. If you can play this, go ahead, Rob.
Formally announcing my intention to cut off all trade and investment.
I'm sorry, bro. That was wild. Bro, they have hypersonic missiles. What are you talking about? They hit Israel with cluster missiles, and everybody was rightfully so complaining about how it was a war crime, which it is. So what are you talking about? Everybody got surprised when Israel got cluster missiles. We were surprised that they shot a missile 2,000 miles out. And now people are even being surprised that they got hypersonic missiles that they proved they had in the 12-day war. What are you talking about, bro? Oh,
with Iran. Our second goal is to prevent regimes that sponsor terror from threatening America or our friends and allies with weapons of mass destruction. Iran aggressively pursues these weapons and exports terror, while an unelected few repress the Iranian people's hope for freedom.
I strongly believe that our national security interests.
Sorry. Okay. Oh, no, that's another funny one. No, man, he's up at around 90% of his population that's ready to help if they are only armed. No. If you go give 90% of Iran population guns, I promise you, bro, 45% of those guys are going to be fighting with the Ayatollah. They're going to be fighting with the IRGC. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. What you guys don't know is that in 2024, when Iran held their election, that's controlled by the Ayatollah. Candidates can't be a candidate without the approval stamp of the IRGC and the Ayatollah. Bro, 61 million people registered in that election. What does that go to show you? That there are 61 million people in Iran that's willing to register in an election controlled by the Ayatollah. 90% of the population of Iran is Shia Muslims. It's the most highly populated place of Shia Muslims. What are you, bro? I'm sorry, but you guys got the demographics of Iran all effed up, all the way effed up. Like, bro, we went in on y'all intelligence, man. We'd be over here giving the mullahs and IRGC all types of weapons.
Now depends upon preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Well, I can say to you, Iran will never get a nuclear weapon on my watch, as they say.
This terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, so everybody talked about it. One guy is doing something about it. So you kind of have to see how, this is another meme that's going viral. Iran took hostages. They're evil. They're a real threat. They're sponsoring terrorism. They're killing Americans. They're building nukes. We have to stop.
Hey, no, thank you, bro. You're making my point for me. That's the beautiful thing. Iran has never got into a war on that, bro. They've never been the attacker. The last war they got into, actually, wait, bro, they won the Iran-Iraq war. Are you serious? Oh, bro. All right, sit your ass down, buddy. You're done. You're done. You don't even know that they won the Iraq war, the Iran-Iraq war, where we was backing Saddam at that time. Us in the Gulf country were backing Saddam to fight Iran. CIA, we were the guys hooking Saddam up with the components to make chemical weapons to use against Iranians. And they won that war. So are you serious? You didn't know they won that? And the fact that we were backing the people that were invading them. Wow.
Stop them. Okay.
Can't even do it with you, bro.
It's like, all right, I'll do it. No, you're the enemy. You're the bad guy. That's doing something like this.
There's certain uncomfortable realities that Americans have to accept, because Iraq really changed the sentiment of war in the United States for a very long time. That was, it should have been Iran, not Iraq. And but the big reality here that everyone has to accept, whether they like it or not, is you have a radical Islamist regime that lied not only about its nuclear development, it enriched uranium well past 60%. It's the only non-nuclear country in the world to do that, but also lied very clearly about its ballistic missile range. And those are two very scary things. Even if you're not scared of the uranium, they've proved to us they lied.
Guys, I'm pretty sure we all know that Iran did win the Iraq war. Iran did stop Saddam Hussein. They won that war. We all know that, right? Please tell me we understand that.
Lied about the range of the missiles they are developing, and going from intermediate range ballistic missiles to long range ballistic missiles is not a big jump. And we do not have any type of blanket missile defense system in the United States. It makes us very vulnerable. So do you want to, we keep pushing it back. And people say we've been saying this for decades. Yes, but there is a breaking point. Like I said earlier, Iran only has to be right once. If that day comes where they do have long range ballistic missiles, even just dirty bomb tipped, right? They don't have to actually be nuclear warheads. That is devastating for the United States. So again, do you wait? No.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the moving of the goalposts. Because now, like, all right, well, they don't have a nuclear bomb. What, they can make a dirty bomb? I'm just like, so really, it's just about them just having nuclear material that you guys are scared about right now. Because we know they don't have a nuclear weapons program. We know they don't have a nuke, but they got the 6% enrichment that you guys are claiming they can make into a dirty bomb at any moment. And even though they had this capability since 2021 and they haven't done it, I mean, let's be real. They had the capability to do this and they haven't. That is the wild thing about people saying that Iran's an imminent threat. I mean, like, bro, how long they had 60% enrichment since 2021? It's been like 5 years. 5 years, and they have not made not one dirty bomb, and they have not struck Israel first. Israel has struck them first, and then they strike Israel. That's the funny thing about Iran. They kind of always be the ones defending themselves.
The right
thing.
But here's my question to you. And mind you, I was in the Air Force. He was in the Army. We're not going to sit here and pretend like we're 4-star generals with all the military strategic planning. But okay, you know what the leadership. Tom, let's maybe we're in the situation room. Okay, guys, they have that capability. We bombed. We took out their nuclear capabilities. Okay, how are you going to win this? Because the leader, every time you kill a leader, there's another one coming in. They control the arm. But here's the thing.
I got an idea.
How
Son of a big pallet full of money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
No, Obama.
Anybody
we
have
can't
an
do
extra
that.
Salem?
But my thing is this: how do you achieve victory? So let's just say the missiles are gone, the nukes are gone. The leadership is still there, and they're never going to listen to you.
Yeah, so there's again an uncomfortable truth. There's a difference between being able to exert external force and being able to exert internal force. The idea that we'll be able to win a victory over Iran where they can no longer push internal force is very unlikely. That's the truth. It's an almost impossible battle. You have a regime there that's willing to massacre its own people. But the idea that we can set them back decades in their ability to hurt externally, sadly, is, again, it's an uncomfortable idea that you're putting them back in the Stone Ages.
Yeah.
But that is the only way you protect the rest of the world at some point.
But now remember those people, those millions of people now, they're sitting there like, wait a minute. Hello? What?
I really want to address this with you because I feel like we're going in circles sometimes.
I don't
and I love
don't
you.
think we're going in circles at all.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
You're focused on the people of Iran. I hear you.
On top of hold on. But let me clarify.
You want to clarify what about that?
On top of the nuclear, the epic fury, all that. I love that.
Okay.
But being from Iran, our family's from Iran. At the end of the day, all that. Thank God they bombed all that stuff. What about the people that were dying at them that were like, help is here, and now it's just like, well, the nukes and stuff are gone. Good luck.
Help is on the way. Help is here. I mean, Trump has been talking about this since he started running for.
Help is here, but we bombing, bro. There's been about 100,000 civilian infrastructures and houses targeted in Iran, blown up. So I'm sorry, but no, we're not helping the Iranian citizens. We're not even helping the ones that disagree or that actually want the Ayatollah gone. We're definitely not helping them. I'm pretty sure we've actually killed some of them because most of them reside in Tehran.
Election. We just showed the clip of every single president talking about this. Trump did something.
Yes.
Marco Rubio, Trump, they've laid out their agenda. We're going to take out all their military assets. Their navy's in the bottom of the sea. They can't produce new military weapons. There's rumors that they're putting shadows of planes out there. So the U.S. is bombing shadows because they don't have real planes. Okay, nuclear ambitions, put that aside. You, Vincent, my brother, are hyper-focused on the people of Iran, as I understand. I think that's great. Of course we want that. Here's the sad reality. So we don't continue to go and do this. They're going to have to figure that out on their own. We talk about we don't want boots on the ground. Well, which one is it? Because we can't do regime change unless we put boots on the ground. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. We can do all the heavy lifting. But if there's going to be actual change in Iran, the people have to do that. Now, you might say, how are they going to do that? I don't know. Pat doesn't know. We don't know. What we can do, like Elon said, the external situations, the nuclear, the warheads, the shooting it 2,000 miles to Europe, that's done. So now whatever happens internally, we literally mean God bless, Allah bless, figure it out. But we can't do the revolution for you. Like the United States Revolution, when we did this, we're like, hey guys, the British. It's like, no, you got to do this, George Washington. You got to sign the Declaration of Independence, guys. And that's what we did. I mean, and that's the unfortunate situation.
Yeah, that could have happened if we stopped bombing them. Be honest with you. If we'd have just left them alone, destroyed their currency, leave them alone, we would have got a natural revolution. But instead, we bombed them, and now they're rallying around the flag. Even guys who are getting pissed off at the government is now on the side of the government because we've created a rally around the flag event. So, yeah, if we'd played a long game, we'd have got that regime change. But for some reason, we wanted to speed things up, and now we effed it all up.
They're
going to have to do
a lot
that.
of support from France.
Yeah,
our
and guns.
revolution, France gave us deception and.
But did they? But
So
were they
Hillary's
boots on the
report.
ground? Were they fighting, or was Americans fighting?
There were French.
There was French.
There were
people
French
here.
here.
Yeah.
You're telling me that the French fight?
They were.
No, but
Come on now, buddy.
at a minimum, we should provide the Iranian people with some kind of auxiliary support. However, we can do that.
We
if
are.
there is,
Are we
We
not?
tried, but no, the Kurds took the guns and they left. We tried to help them. They were just like, "Hey, we'll
that story kind of came and went. I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
what
well,
happened.
Yeah.
so did the guns.
But Pat, let me bring this back to you.
I mean,
Kurds took
shoot,
them.
we tried to get guns into Iran, but the Kurds stole them. No, they ran off. I mean, can you believe that, bro? I mean, look, guys, literally, we gave the Kurds some guns, and they just disappeared on us. Took the guns, said, "All right, I'm out." Never seen them again. Now we got we got the Kurds with a whole bunch of U.S. weapons for free.
Understand everything that Trump is doing, from the nuclear ambitions to the military to the warheads of everything, the blockade, the economic warfare. Focus on the people. If that's what should the people of Iran do at this point? The 10,000, 50,000, whatever the number of the greatest people who were fighting against Regime Brown being killed. Is there sentiment of fighting on the ground? Are they going to weaponry? Like, what are they going to do from a people perspective?
Yeah.
First,
but I want to understand this.
Yeah. So a couple things on the blockade of what's working and what's not. Every day the blockade is there, Iran loses $400 million a day.
400 million
every
a day.
day. The block
$428 million a day, while we're spending how much on this? Oh, $2 billion a day on this right here. Like, and then here's a problem. Iran already had like a completely destroyed currency, and they're still able to make missiles and drones in-house in underground facilities. So they're still able to fuel their war machine, even if they're cut off from these funds. That's probably the best part about being a self-sustaining country.
Blockade costs Iran's government, the IRGC, $400 million a day,
Like America,
$12 to $13 billion a day of them selling oil.
Okay.
They can only, experts say they can only handle it up to 16 days. Some are saying 2 months. So they're right now like this.
They're getting choked out.
So the idea that they put a pause on it kind of helped Iran a little bit. Now, if they extend this and they have the blockade, and you're saying they're stopping, 3 or 4 ships? Hey, what are you doing? Turn around. You ain't doing this right now. You ain't selling it to nobody. Get your ass back into place. We're serious about this. Now Iran is sitting there saying, holy shit, this is becoming real. Now what am I going to do? I need the revenue. I need the money. I need the income. So how will Iran react? Yesterday, there was a 60 Minutes episode on Iran. And Rob, were you able to find out about the guy that's on it or no? Were you able to find out who it is? So this is Matthew Bunn, okay? Harvard Kennedy School. Matthew Bunn, to just kind of give you an idea who he is, Bunn was served as a White House Office of Science and Technology from 94 to 96. 94 to 96, who would that be? Was that senior is who he was under?
Clinton.
Clinton.
That's Clinton.
Okay,
Clinton
so
was 92.
All right, so
2000.
94, 96 is Clinton. So it's not like this is a Trump guy. He is doing an interview yesterday with 60 Minutes. And 60 Minutes doesn't know what this guy's going to say. Of course, we can't play the clip, but we can just show what he says with the content in the tweet, Rob, if you want to go to it. I highly recommend watching this. Everybody should watch this tomorrow. Just don't play the clip, Rob, because you know what 60 Minutes does. So UN, last time UN inspector were able to verify Iran had 970 pounds of 60% uranium enriched uranium.
Oh, guys, and if you want to double your support, you can go ahead and send it in on Venmo. So if you send Venmo, if you send it $1, it's worth $2, $2 worth $4, and so on. So you can double your support by sending it in on Venmo. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's get back to it. And don't forget to double tap that screen.
If enriched further, the stockpile could produce 10 to 11 nuclear bombs, says Matthew Bunn, a former White House nuclear advisor who works at the Harvard Kennedy School Belfer Center. And then he also says this, which was kind of shocked a lot of people. Iran has been lying about its nuclear weapon effort for over 20 years now. He says, a former White House nuclear advisor who works at Harvard Kennedy School. Remember, this is a Clinton guy. If he's a Clinton or a Bush person, he's not a Trump person. Let's get that clear. Because Bushes don't like Trump, Clintons don't like Trumps. They're on the same page. So, there is the media market, what everybody reacts to and what they say. Then there is the people that were in there having dealt with Iran and known what these guys are like and how they lie when they're negotiating. Iran's in a very bad place. The challenge with the people is
and this is what kills me about when they say, "Oh, we can't trust them during negotiations. They break their deals." No, they don't. Actually, we break our deals. Like when we got under the JCPOA, who pulled out first? We did. We broke the deal, and then we expected Iran to abide by it, even though we broke our side. So if anybody can't be trusted to keep up their side of the deal, sadly, it's us. It's us. Like,
following. They don't have somebody there, and I don't know why the president is not locking on to Reza Pahlavi. If he did, his strategy would be different. So think about it this way. Did you guys see Maria Corina Machado came up outside on the balcony? How the Venezuelans reacted to her? Did you see this clip? Rob, can you find this clip? Just type in her name and how she was received. It was beautiful on how she was received. What Trump wants to do and what he doesn't want to do, it's right there. Watch this, Vinny. Just watch the reaction, how she's being received.
Is this in Venezuela?
Can you go back to the tweet so I can read the details there? Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado walked out to a sea of thousands of supporters in Madrid.
Madrid, got it.
Machado has dedicated her Nobel Prize to she is refusing to meet Spain's leftist PM Pedro Sanchez right now. Instead, meeting with right-wing opposition, right-wingers must rise across Europe. Okay, so play the clip, Rob. Play the clip.
Oh my! Oh, is that real?
No, this is real.
oh yeah, and shout out to my man Freedom. Sent a gold coin for 10 jewels. Appreciate his support, my man.
Holy moly.
This is Spain.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Okay.
Spain loving
That's
her.
right. This is Spain. Now you got to realize the Spain's leader has been also getting a lot of attention because Trump and comments he made, he went against him. So he's kind of playing. But this is kind of where I'm going with you, Adam, to answer your question about the people. So the difference between Reza Pahlavi and her is what? She got a Nobel Prize. She went to the White House. She gave it to Trump. Everybody thought Trump was going to get behind her. And Trump's like, no, your people got to vote for you. So if you look at the pattern there, what do Iranians have to do with this guy? If Iranians really want to play, use a similar type of a playbook, because this guy is getting audiences that are showing up as well. But Trump is not going to get behind to say, we're going to endorse you, the same way he did when Maria Corina Machado. So
stop trying to put that man's life in danger, bro. If y'all put that Pavli guy in there, they're gonna execute him like week one.
Honestly, he has to be able to convince the U.S. government that the military has flipped on them and is supporting him, and he simply doesn't have that. You could have the people. You could have audiences showing up in Germany. You could have audiences showing up all over the place. And by the way, they are for this guy. But you got to get the military to flip. If the military people are not flipping, you ain't going to have a lot of, you need some of the military, even if it's 5%, 10%, 20%, to stand up and say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, from the IRGC, that's rich, Patrick. I mean, look, bro, I wish, but when, it's called the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the whole Islamic part makes it really unlikely that they're going to revolt against their Islamic leader. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there.
And so influence-wise, they got to find somebody internally. Iran's market's not going to let that happen because the internet, where people cannot communicate the message out, it's still kind of tough to be able to do it. So Iran's issue is different. So the president is probably thinking the idea of a regime change and a regime collapse, the regime, he can technically say it's changed. Why? Because it's new people, hasn't collapsed.
Nope.
Yeah.
If IRGC is there 3 months from now, there is no collapse.
Yeah.
You can say, Khamenei is not there, his son took over. You can say you killed 50 different people. So as long as IRGC is there, the Iranian people are going to be screwed because of the way they're going to be treating.
Quick follow-up on that to you. So you're talking about the power. Who has the power? By the way, has anyone even seen the new Ayatollah? Allegedly, he's in a coma. I know you think he's gay. Whatever the kill is.
I didn't say anything.
I don't know what's going on, but follow the money here.
I mean, bro, it was a CIA report pretty much saying that, he's suspect to be gay. Not he is gay, but he's suspected to be gay because he has a close relationship with his tutor. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, you can't have a close relationship with somebody who was teaching you mathematics. That's a bit weird, but I mean, all right. I mean, a bit of a reach, but okay.
If you're saying that they're losing 400 million a day, okay, how many billions is that going to be this month?
12 to 13 billion a month. They can't afford to lose that kind of money.
they're choking them out.
Yeah, they are.
And if they can't pay their proxies, which is dumb.
I mean, but here's the problem. Like I said, Islamic Revolutionary Guard, these guys don't care about money. Hezbollah, they don't care about money. Actually, Hezbollah was fighting before Iran was funded them. I mean, that's the thing. These guys have a whole belief that, oh, well, Hezbollah's there to defend southern Lebanon because Israel keeps wanting to take it. That's why Hezbollah exists. Hamas, well, because of the treatment of the Palestinians. That's why they exist. To sit there and think they're going to stop because Iran stopped funding them? No, that's not how it works. Wish it did, though.
If they can't pay their
if they-
IRGC,
but if you choke
the
them
people
out-
have no money. What's going to happen to the society?
if you choke them out, how do you get rid of the IRGC?
That's the question.
So
That's the big
if
problem.
they're saying, well, they've agreed to a 15-year suspension on, uranium enrichment and all this other stuff. What the hell is 15 years? The problem, like for example, I don't care if certain countries have nuclear enrichment or the power if they're allies and they're friendly. Who do you care about not having it? People who are screaming off the top of their lungs, death upon America. Yeah, that's a little bit concerning to give you that. And say 15 years? So what makes you think in 15 years? How old is AOC in 15 years, Rob?
Yeah.
50? I don't know how.
Let's be real though. The only reason they yell death to America is because our constant interference in their politics and the fact that we backed their enemy in a war. I mean, they know we did that. Also, they know that we pretty much colluded with Saddam to pretty much gas them. So let's be real. If a country does that against you, you're going to be yelling death to that country as well. Not saying I like it, but I mean, you got to understand where they're coming from with it. Let's not sit here and pretend they're just saying it for no reason or just because we're Christian and when they hate our freedoms.
Oh, she is right now 34, 33, 35. How old is she today? 36. Yeah. In 15 years, she's 51. Say America gets crazy. Who was Obama doing the whole song and dance thing with the kids with Mamdani in a classroom? I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Yep.
So Obama was at first too careful to get too close to an Islamist socialist, semi-communist. He did. Now they're doing this. Optics-wise, go ahead and play this clip, Rob. What do you think this is? You can play the clip. What do you think this is? Tell me what optics are. If the number one Democratic influencer in the last 30 years gets in front of is this not a form of endorsement?
Yes.
Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on. Please don't tell me they're trying to demonize this.
And dancing with the kids with Mamdani in a classroom. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Yep.
So Obama was at first too careful to get too close to an Islamist socialist, semi-communist. He did. Now they're doing this. Optics-wise, go ahead and play this clip, Rob. What do you think this is? You can play the clip. What do you think this is? Tell me what optics are. If the number one Democratic influencer in the last 30 years.
And I tell you why people on Twitter was losing their mind. It's an Islamic takeover. Look at the little girl in the job. She's forced to be in there. I'm like, bro, that's like the only little girl. That's like the only person in the job. Like, why are y'all tripping? But I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't get it. But it is what it is.
Gets in front of is this not a form of endorsement?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. This is an endorsement.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's some indoctrination
shortly
right there.
after, by the way, his wife was caught with all those crazy.
I'm sorry, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with reading with children and having to sing along? I'm so confused. Like I said, anybody trying to spin that into a political matter, I'm sorry, but you're trying too hard. You're literally trying too hard.
The comments online, and he's Obama's right there.
Obama. So meaning they're going to. Yesterday I went to a game that Dylan had a back-to-back football game yesterday. I'm watching it, and I was wearing the white FLB shoes, and it's great when you sit on the side and you put your foot over, which I can't do with my right knee, but I can do with my left knee because the right knee's got the torn ACL and the MCL.
Ouch.
But when you have the bottom of the shoe that reads "Future Looks Bright," these shoes. Today I'm wearing them. Every single day. This is all I wear when it comes onto the shoes. The level of comfort I have.
So Vice President J.D. Vance is reportedly set to head to Pakistan today for a new round of peace talks.
So President Trump says if there's no deal, he's unlikely to extend the ceasefire, which expires tomorrow.
Our chief foreign correspondent, Trey Yinks, joins us live from Tel Aviv with the latest. Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. The ceasefire between the United States and Iran is set to end this week. Vice President J.D. Vance, along with the U.S. delegation, are expected to travel to Islamabad, Pakistan later today for those direct talks. Though
Really?
state media has indicated the Iranian delegation has not yet.
All right, guys, we got something coming up here. Let's see.
That the U.S. military has significantly depleted its stockpile of key missiles during the war with Iran. And according to experts, this reduction is so severe it has created a near-term risk of the U.S. running out of ammunition. CNN has learned that the U.S. military has significantly depleted its stockpile of key missiles during the war with Iran. And according to experts, this reduction is so severe it has created a near-term risk of the U.S. running out of ammunition should a future conflict arise in the next few years. CNN's Natasha Bertrand is with us now with her reporting on this. It's some new reporting here. Natasha, walk us through what you've learned.
Yeah, Brianna. So according to this new study by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, which was their findings were confirmed by 3 sources familiar with recent Pentagon assessments of U.S. stockpiles, the U.S. is running dangerously low on some of these key munitions that would be required to confront a near-peer adversary in the short term, like China, for example. So while the U.S. does still have sufficient munitions to continue bombing Iran, for example, if the shaky ceasefire were to fall apart, if they were to need to confront an adversary like China or like Russia, for example, then that could pose significant problems for the United States. Now, just to give you an example of how much the U.S. stockpile has been depleted over the last 7+ weeks of war on Iran, according to this assessment and the sources that we spoke to, the U.S. military has expended at least 45% of its stockpile of precision strike missiles, at least half of its inventory of THAAD missiles, which are designed to intercept ballistic missiles, and nearly 50% of its stockpile of Patriot air defense interceptor missiles, which are.
So let's see here. Center for Strategic and International Studies is where these numbers are coming from. Huh. Interesting.
Of course, very key air defense munitions. Now, the U.S. military has also expended approximately 30% of its Tomahawk missiles stockpile, which are those long-range munitions that are really key to attacking targets further away. More than 20% of its stockpile of long-range joint air-to-surface standoff missiles, and approximately 20% of its SM-3 and SM-6 missiles. Now, this is important because these munitions take a while to be replaced. And according to our sources and this analysis, it would take anywhere between 1 to 6 years to replace a lot of these munitions. And so this is a really big problem that we should note that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General.
And it's crazy because I've been hearing this from almost every military expert. Has been saying that, well, every honest one has been pretty much saying, yo, we don't have the missiles to like keep this going. And then we don't have the manufacturing capability to start producing these missiles at mass. It's like Iran could go ahead and produce 300 missiles a month. We're over here producing 600 or 700 missiles a year, like, and we're just using it willy-nilly like we got it like that, but we don't. And this is not just CNN saying this. This has been a lot of independent journalism, a lot of independent media that's been saying the same thing as well. That, yo, we don't got enough missiles to keep this going. So we all are wondering, like, yo, Trump, how long are you going to drag this out?
Dan Kane, he actually warned about as
hey, CNN, yo, what the fuck, bro? Like, you just gonna let the Iranians know we low down like that? Like, come on, bro. Like, and the thing is, I know I was hearing it from other people as well, but I'm like, come on, why you gotta put it on mainstream news? Like, come on.
Administration was preparing to potentially go to war with Iran, he was raising concerns, we're told, about this issue of depleted stockpiles around the world, particularly one.
I mean, yeah, if those weapon companies are going to start hiring people to start making these drones and missiles by mass, I mean, bro, they better start posting like $27, $28 an hour to really get people running in there. I mean, these factories better start popping up within the next 6 months or we're cooked on that side.
That could be very useful to U.S. allies like Israel and Ukraine. So the Pentagon is preparing to ask for a supplemental from Congress for additional funding to try to replace these munitions, but it could still take quite some time before those are actually back in U.S. stockpiles, Brianna.
All right. Thank you, Natasha, for the reporting. Boris?
Joining us now to discuss this and more.
Like, hey, yo, I respect the reporting, but it's just pissing me off because it's like, oh, y'all really going to let Iran know that, bro? Like... all right, CNN. Okay, you're playing with fire here, but I respect it. I respect the journalism. No, I really do. It's just that, you know, Trump's been getting a little I ain't gonna lie, a little bit vociferous about, trying to, I don't know, bring charges on anybody or snatch licenses against anybody who kind of, I don't know, push bad information about the war and all this good stuff. And this, I can see Trump getting mad over, letting the enemy know that we're low on missiles.
Regarding the war with Iran is retired Army Major Harrison Mann. He's a former Defense Intelligence Agency official, also the Associate Campaigns Director for Win Without War. Major, thanks so much for being with us. When you hear that report, how much do these shortages concern you?
They concern me, and for more reasons just than running out of ammo fighting Iran. Part of this is a math problem that we knew the answer for before this war started, right? We knew what our stockpiles were, and I used to work with the folks at the Defense Intelligence Agency who used to do their best to count how many missiles and drones Iran had. And so, like, there's really two things that I want to draw out of here. One is that the folks, politicians and experts who were advocating for war with Iran, they were just kind of detached from reality.
Yep.
We've run out of up to 50% of strategic defensive interceptors a month into a war with a regional power, right? This is Iran. And from that, we also got to kind of extrapolate.
Okay, so Center for Strategic and International Studies. All right. And this is where it's coming from? All right.
Folks who are advocating for war with China. That is a global power. The fact that we are totally unprepared for these conflicts is not an argument for us to gear up for war, but it should make us a little more introspective when we have people saying it's going to be a slam dunk and we really need to fight these wars. The other thing I want to pull out of this, I think, you could be watching this report about us running out of all these critical munitions and say, well, wait a minute, don't we have the most powerful military in the world? Don't we have the biggest military in the world? We just spent nearly $1 trillion on the Pentagon last year. Why don't we have enough ammo? And I think it's important for folks to understand, especially as we.
All right, so just so we can figure out, where this is all coming from, Center for Strategic and International Studies is a prominent bipartisan nonprofit think tank headquartered in Washington, D.C., founded in 1962. It is decided to provide, it is dedicated to provide strategic insight and policy solutions to decision makers in government, business, and academia. Let's see here, mission. Let's see, the focusing on sustaining American prominence and prosperity as a force for good by anticipating future global challenges. I guess one of those challenges would be our shortage in missiles. So, all right, makes sense.
Move into talking about supplemental funding or a new defense funding bill, that these hundreds of billions of dollars that Congress gives the president for war largely do not go into things that we would say we need for war. The reason that we don't have enough air defense interceptors is because instead we've been spending that money on like these big projects that are kind of designed to be expensive. I hate to describe it this way, but a lot of this $900 billion budget, and that's what Congress passed last year, nearly every Republican and over 50% of Democrats too, kind of becomes a slush fund for defense contractors.
Yep.
Raytheon, Lockheed, and instead of producing the defensive capabilities that you say we might need, instead of doing things like paying to get black mold out of the soldiers' barracks, instead of going towards getting better bomb shelters for the hundreds of U.S. troops who've been wounded in this war, we're building big vanity projects like the F-35 stealth fighter, which we learned pretty early on in this war is not that stealthy. Iran caught it on camera and shot at it, or like Ford-class aircraft carriers that the toilets don't work on. And so I think it's really important to understand if you see these numbers and are shocked or worried by them, more money is not the answer. More judicious spending is.
There's also an aspect to this, specifically when it comes to Iran, and I'll get to China in a moment, but financially it's asymmetrical, right? I've heard some experts describing the U.S. weaponry as a Ferrari out in the skies over Tehran, and the Iranians essentially shooting like a razor scooter at a Ferrari. It's way less expensive for them to take out the U.S. and Israel's equipment than the inverse. How does the U.S. make that more efficient? Does it need to adjust toward a more Ukrainian-like model?
So this is another reflection of our misguided priorities, I would say. Drone proliferation in the Middle East has been a threat for at least a decade. We saw them popping up in the Syrian civil war, and Iran has been a leader in this field. As you mentioned, Ukrainians, out of necessity, figured out much, much cheaper ways to deal with this threat. Why haven't we invested in them? Again, these are because of decisions that Congress and successive military leadership made. And it's really unfortunate because how did the first U.S. troops die in this conflict? It was a drone strike.
Yeah. I did want to get your thoughts on China because this morning President Trump said the U.S. intercepted a ship that had, quote, a gift from China. This is notable because as the president is saying that he was sort of surprised by this, we talked about last week the letters exchanged between he and President Xi of China, in which Xi effectively promised Trump that that China would not be supplying ammunition to Tehran. Do you think a shipment of arms from
The worst thing about it is that, I mean, that deal is that we pretty much said, look, China, you can go in and out of the strait, but just make sure you don't give any weapons to Iran, even though we know you're giving them intel on where to fire at.
China could have gotten sent to Iran without Xi knowing, without Beijing being aware of what was being transported to Iran?
I don't think that that would be possible, but we also have to note that the accusation here is a dual use system.
I see.
So that could be electronics. It doesn't necessarily mean they sent them missiles. A lot of Iran's missiles and drones do depend on electronics, circuit board stuff that they can't manufacture domestically. So this could have been something routine, or it could have been China testing the waters and trying to keep the Iranian war effort going. It's hard to be sure right now.
Major Harrison, man, thank you so much for the perspective. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, now let's go ahead and get over to the next video here.
About President Trump's intentions for Cuba. The president says a new dawn is coming for the island nation, but what exactly that means, still unknown tonight. Senior foreign policy correspondent Jillian Turner is at the State Department.
This great strength will also bring about a day, 70 years in waiting. It's called a new dawn for Cuba.
The State Department confirmed Secretary Marco Rubio dispatched a delegation of senior officials to negotiate in Havana. Last week, a U.S. government plane landed on the...
I mean, all right, after strangling them and creating an energy crisis there, I'm glad we're finally reaching out. I thought we were just waiting on the overthrowing and getting a regime change, trying to get, the Venezuela formula again, which would be a lot easier to do with Cuba. All right.
Donald Trump says he expects to continue bombing Iran if the U.S. cannot reach a deal to extend the ceasefire by Wednesday evening deadline.
Well, I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go in with. But we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go.
U.S. President Donald Trump speaking to CNBC, the vice president due to leave for Pakistan soon, where extreme uncertainty awaits. Preliminary talks have been happening for days, but Iran still has no clear indication if its negotiating team will sit down with the Americans. Let's get you to Washington and to Kevin Liptak. What do we know at this point?
Yeah, we still expect J.D. Vance, the vice president, to depart sometime relatively soon from Washington to head from Islamabad. Our understanding is that he has not left just yet, but that interview that the president is still doing right now on CNBC, quite revealing in terms of his approach and attitude to these negotiations.
All right, here, let's go ahead and check out this Trump interview real quick. I might have to react to this later on. Well, probably come back later on tonight and get it done. But let's listen to
Join us now on the Squawk Newsline, President Donald J. Trump. President Trump, welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Joe.
You are very welcome. Can you give us, I think it's on everyone's mind, the latest on where the Iran negotiations stand? We now know Tehran has publicly confirmed that it will send representatives to the meeting with Vice President Vance. What do you expect? What are you hearing at this point, sir?
Well, as I said 2 days ago, when they said they won't send them, I said they'll be sending them. They have no choice but to send them. What I think is that we're going to end up with a great deal. I think they have no choice. We've taken out their Navy. We've taken out their Air Force. We've taken out their leaders, frankly, which does complicate things in one way, but these leaders are much more rational. It is regime change.
I don't know about that, because think about it. We came with our maximalist demands in Islamabad and they walked away from it. And then, like I said, they proceed to close the strait. So we keep saying that we have all this leverage over them. They're just begging for a ceasefire, but they keep walking away as if they got leverage, which they do.
No matter what you want to call it, which is not something I said I was going to do, but I've done it indirectly, maybe, but I've done it. And I think we're in a very strong negotiating position to do what other presidents should have done during a 47-year period. We have 47 years where these bloodthirsty people have been killing a lot of soldiers, a lot of our soldiers, and a lot of other people. They've killed 42,000 people over the last 2 months. And, you get to a point where people don't want to mention that. They don't like mentioning that. 42,000 unarmed protesters, innocent unarmed protesters, many of them hung. So we're not dealing with the nicest group of people, but we're dealing with them very successfully. And the blockade has been a tremendous success. They said 2 days ago, we will open the strait. I said, no, we're not going to open the strait until we have a final deal. No.
Yeah, well, I'm weak. Yeah, and this is what Iran said. All right, then we're just gonna close the strait again, and that's just gonna be it. But all right, guys, I gotta go ahead and head out on this one. Don't worry, I'll be back and we'll react to this one as soon as I get back, probably around that 3 a.m. time. So appreciate the support, guys. Make sure you guys double tap the screen and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. About 500,000 of you guys watch this show a month, and not all of you are subscribed. And you watch constantly. You have been over the past 6 months. I have the analytics. I have the proof. I know who you are. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys, and make sure to double tap that screen on your way out. Anyway, though, I'm going to go ahead and leave it out from Word from Kalshi. Appreciate the support, guys. Peace. Yo, this is S.E.T Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market. People trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people, kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's kalshi.com/setmedia. Go ahead and use my code SETmedia to get $20 when you trade 20. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Kalshi, because like I said, it is a trading market where you can put in your prediction and you can go ahead and earn interest on that. You can make money off the knowledge that you know, and if you put $20 in, you get $20 back. So all right, guys, make sure to go check out my guy at Kalshi, because you can get in on good trades like who will Trump nominate as Fed chair? Will Ali Khamenei be outed as the supreme leader? And will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? So if you want to get in on this action, once again, go ahead and go to my partners at Kalshi. Go ahead and use the link, or you can hit the QR code above and use SET Media to go ahead and get $20 when you trade 20. This is Set from SET Media, and shout out to Kalshi.